Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast hosted by Northern Nerds. I'm one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm one of the other hosts, Paul. And I forgot my name there for a second.
The hat's influenced you.
Yeah, it's the pressure on things. So with us wearing the hat, I should just be silent all episode and come up with something really important and
really meaningful.
It's not going to happen. So this week we are joined by the lovely Donna and her cookies, and Grant has joined us as well. Like I said, to add a bit of flavour to the topic, shall we say?
Why don't I get a comment about my cookies? I've got a vest on specifically to show Donna up.
To be fair, there's not much cleavage there.
There we go.
There we go. So making Donna blush already. So yes, this week we are going all, shall we say, raunchy and a bit depraved. Depraved isn't really the right word for it.
It is.
Well, it can be.
Yeah.
It can be. In some ways, but then it can also be so lovely as well.
Yes.
I'll bring the lovely side, and I am going to be on my best behaviour tonight. I understand Grant's here, and every time Grant's been on, I've always said something that's like bit us in the arse later on. Still haven't gotten past the bronies thing yet. No. So I am on my best behaviour.
So we're going to be
You
biting
were literally
Sam.
Just talking about eating ass there.
Yeah, I was going to say we're going to be biting your ass already.
No.
We're already on it.
And that's the type of noise we'll still be making as well, guys, so don't worry.
Oh, yes.
Well, oh my God, Grant. Well, before we get into it, tonight's episode, which is all about the amazing Kevin Smith.
Yes.
Because he is a god. I was trying to think of the right words today to describe him, and he's just a god. In my eyes, he is a god.
Icon. I would probably say icon stands there.
I was thinking king of the nerds, but I was no.
You're not taking my title away. Fuck that. I'm king of the nerds, bitch.
He's nerd of the universe. Like, he's just, he's amazing. So I'm going to get the disclaimer out of the way with first, and then we'll crack on. So everything discussed in tonight's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you would like to discuss any of the topics from tonight's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group, and we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and tell us our opinions are wrong. We can agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerding.
And keep it nerdy, guys. That's the main thing.
Yes.
But yes, just before we get started with the Love Fest and basically us sucking Kevin Smith's cock, just want to say a big shout out to the group. We hit 4,500 members this week, so we've grown quite a lot amount now, which is still surprising. We did do a vote where we're going to start reviewing a movie a month based on, like I say, the choices of the team podcast. And this week's, not this week's episode, but we will fit it in this month anyway, is being won by the fabulous Donna, who picked, shall we say, an interesting choice. I don't know if you want to tell us who the choice of the film there is, Donna.
Yes, the movie that won is The Goonies. No.
Excellent.
We're going to be reviewing As More as voted by the people of Nerdy Up North.
And the people better fucking tune in to watch it as well. Say that.
You bloody better. My Exorcist didn't do too bad though.
No,
it didn't do too bad at all. I was quite pleased with that. But Donna, well done. Yeah. You did it.
Not bitter.
I've got to watch it now. No, we've got to watch it now. Come on, let's kick off with Kevin Smith. Let's get into this.
So certainly. So I would love to know where, like I say, the starting points, because I know it's weird because there's certain films and stuff you can remember when you first got introduced. I can pretty much remember the time and even like the stage in my life where I got introduced to the Kevin Smith movies, which was a bit strange. So we'll start with the fabulous Donna. She's not sparkly tonight, sorry, so we can't call her Twinkle Donna. So what was your introduction, and like say, how did you get into Kevin Smith?
I think my first introduction was Mallrats in my late teens. I wasn't 100%, but I think it's Mallrats. And from there, I guess I just want the comedy is it's just like goofy, fun comedy. It's like you and your mates hanging out and the shit you would say. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like realistic and just stuff you would generally do. And from there, I wanted to go check out more of his stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good shout. I think Mallrats, again, same with me, is the gateway film for a lot of people for Kevin Smith. I think mine was when I was just college. Again, similar to you, hadn't heard anything of his stuff. I think I saw an advert for Mallrats because it bombed big style in the theatre, and it was like for DVD or VHS rental that came out, and I had a few stoner friends and decided they wanted to I think this is what took off for stoner humour as well.
Yeah.
As in a big way, but as soon as they introduced this, I was hooked, and the humour was just up there, and I think, as Donna said, it spoke, like the dialogue and everything, it didn't treat the audience like idiots, which a lot of Kevin Smith movies do. Well, a lot of like the teen romps or anything like that kind of do. But say, when you talk about the American Pies, good films, but they do like paint it by numbers and treat like the audience like the stupid at times as well. But with this, the dialogue and the interactions is the type of conversations we were having at college. Like, I was talking with friends like Greener and Dixon, like what would happen if Superman banged Lois Lane? Would his shot blow out of her backside?
Oh, I can hear them conversations.
Would the Thing's cock be as made as rock? I was fascinated by Mr. Fantastic, how stretchy his cock would reach.
Of course you were.
It was just entertaining, and like as I said, would Spider-Man bang like upside down like he did give that kiss like to MJ? Because to be honest, if Spider-Man and had all them different tricks, I'll be trying some kinky positions. Let's be honest. But yeah, like I say, Mallrats was probably the gateway drug for me as well.
Not mine. Not mine. Mine is it's same time period. It ran about the same time, like maybe last year of school, first year of college, maybe. So you're looking like 99, 2000. And it was Dogma.
Right.
And it was like a spiritual awakening.
It had a poop monster in it, damn it.
It was such it was comedy I'd never seen before.
Right.
Like I'd never seen that level of humor before. And obviously you had Jay and Silent Bob, Alan Rickman was involved. So Dogma, very much. And that was like my gateway into it. So then from then went obviously Mallrats. And then, again, it was just, it's relatable, like too relatable. And it just spanned from there, and it's become a love affair since I've had since probably 1999, and still going so strong today.
No, Dogma is like one of the top tiers of Kevin Smith's films. And the performances in it, I know he gets a lot of shit for like the look of his films and stuff, but that one looked professional. And like I say, I know Alan Rickman, he's brilliant in anything he does, but I don't think Affleck and Matt Damon get as much credit for their performances in that film as well, because you can't take your eyes on them, and like I say, the transformation and the journey that, like I say, where all they do was want to get home, to the point where Ben Affleck's like full apocalypse, wanting death, and becomes full villain as well. And I love that scene when he's flying down, dropping people in the church. Yeah, he's coming down the wings, but he's got that look on his face, a smarmy look that he was in Mallrats when he was trying to bang people in an uncomfortable position. But yes,
in the back of a Volvo.
There's got to be all them type of jokes as well. So yes, but Dogma, like I said, probably one of Kevin Smith's greatest accomplishments to date, I would say, easily. So,
100%. And Alanis Morissette's God, genius idea.
Who else could play God?
I know, genius idea. Like, for the time, she was like everything, especially the fact that Jagged Little Pill was probably still sitting in my tape deck somewhere. Or me portable Walkman, like me portable CD player. And yeah, that was just genius move. So Dogma was mine. Away, Grant.
I'm literally echoing what you've said, Tommy. It was Dogma for me. I can't remember how I saw it. I might have seen it at the cinema, or I might have seen it on like a pirate or something like that. Fell in love with it. I loved George Carlin.
I totally forgot about the great George Carlin.
Literally adore his stand-up. It speaks to me on so many levels. So when he popped up in the first scene, I was like, all right, this is going to be good. And then watched it through, was blown away by it. Equally, I adore Jagged Little Pill. So when Alanis Morissette came out as God at the end, I was just like, it's the fucking perfect movie. I've just had Salma Hayek dancing around in a bikini. It's like, I don't want anything else out of a film ever.
Yeah.
And then a few mates were like, have you seen the other ones? I was like, other ones?
Yeah, I was exactly the same.
But there's so many good things about Dogma. Like, say, like, if you think of all the cameos and all the different performances in it as well, like even Chris Rock isn't annoying in the film, which is quite surprising. As playing the apostle, like say, sprouting word of the Lord Jesus and how he owed him $20 and stuff like that. But I just love that thing, like say when he falls out the sky and he's like a naked black man and he's like getting Silent Bob's coat and he's like, don't worry, I'll tuck my junk at the back so it's not rubbing. Like that little nuances and little in jokes and stuff that do. And I love how the amp Jay up in this as well, they take him like say not just like say like Jay was always like at a level, and this time he went all Spinal Tap and went up to 11 with his crudeness and how he just was all he was talking was just fucking and stuff like, and the jokes and as well when these get if you know everything, tell us secrets about it, like, you masturbate more than any other person in this world, and just get shit son, tell me something I don't know. Sometimes you think about guys and you see the face and it's just absolutely hilarity and
it is Jay at his finest, because after that he goes on his downward spiral. And he's, I think one of them, oh gosh, what's after Dogma?
Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back.
He can't remember doing it. He physically can't remember doing it. He had to be forced to come to the set. He was completely and utterly off his rocker. So yeah, you got Dogma, that's the pinnacle of Jay. And I think it was brought back in Reboot, and I'll fight anyone for that. I love seeing Jay right now. I love seeing how happy he is. I hate them teeth, but I just
to be fair, that's not his fault really. Now
but them teeth, like he paid money for that, and that like his smile. He used to have a beautiful smile. Now he's got these big white false teeth, and they're like, whoa, what happened there?
Heroin does a wonderful thing to your teeth. So
yeah.
I was going to say that's what meth will do to you. They're all sitting at the bottom of a sink somewhere now. Leave them alone.
And I was going to say harsh. Like, say, I'd rather see him like that than gummy.
That's true. That is true.
But
that is true.
In Dogma as well, I love the story. I think I told it on a previous podcast, but I'll tell it again. Is when Kevin Smith pulled Jason Mewes to one side and said, "Look." In the previous films, they had to feed his lines in each scene he was in because he couldn't remember shit. And they went, look, this is a proper film. We've got serious actors. We've got Alan Rickman in, and he's a proper British actor. And if you don't know your lines, he's going to fucking kick the shit out of you. So he actually put the fear of God into him with it being Dogma as well. So that he not only learned his own lines, he learned the lines of the whole fucking cast. So he knew what everyone else was going to say, when it was going to say it. And it was probably like, you can tell because he was prepared, and everything just hits the points. Even like say the jokes when at the end when they think the world's going to end, and he grabs like say I can't remember her name now, Bethany. To one side and think, oh, he's trying to be saving you, he's going to have a redeeming moment. No, he's just trying to fuck her.
Exactly. He's full on Jay. He is like, you can tell he's on his absolute A game in Dogma. Like he was great in Mallrats, but that was just another extension of Clerks, Jay, because they hadn't like fully established him yet.
Yeah, but I think if you put all the time that Jay was in it, I think it's about 15 minutes at the most, where he had to basically run this movie. This was the full like so much. But I love how like say when Kevin Smith's cast himself in his films as well, it wasn't really meant to be Kevin Smith.
No,
it was meant to. Wasn't it meant to be Dante out of who actually? No, it wasn't. It was. I've forgotten who it was.
Brian Johnson,
that was it. Brian
Johnson is the real Randle.
Yes.
Is he Dante or Randle? It's either one or the other.
You see him in comic book men, he is Randle. He is a complete bellend.
And do you know what though? Like I've read Kevin Smith's book. He brought a book out of like a diary entries of when he moved to Los Angeles, and they used to have a Jay and Silent Bob store in Los Angeles, and Brian Johnson ran it. Well, he didn't, because he never showed up for work. He really was the true life Randle. That shop went down so quickly. Brian Johnson is one of my husband's heroes. Him, Walt, and Q do a podcast called Tell 'Em Steve Dave.
Mhm.
He's a Patreon to it. He absolutely adores them. Like, we followed them for years, like well before Comic Book Men. And it comes from the line in Mallrats.
Yeah.
Tell 'em Steve Dave.
But doesn't like say Brian Johnson still just like doesn't work where he just lives on the royalty fees he gets from Mallrats. That's how he still lives his life now. So after that one line, he's not doing too bad.
Oh, not at all. But obviously, the Tell 'em Steve Dave is like massive.
Mhm.
It was always big to start with because of the topic of conversation, and obviously Comic Book Men came out and it made it even bigger. Right now, like Walt doesn't work in the shop anymore.
Right.
Mike Zapsik is the manager.
All right.
Ming Cheng never worked in the shop ever. But they're starting now to do a series of telling the secrets of Comic Book Men, and Ant says it's fantastic. Like, it really is fantastic.
All right. Is that on the podcast or is that on
Yeah.
so it's not like the Comic Book Men the series?
No. This is on their podcast because they're out of contract now, so they can start talking about it. So they're telling all the secrets of Comic Book Men. But Q was meant to be in Comic Book Men instead of Ming, but Q couldn't do it because of Impractical Jokers.
Right. Yeah.
So it would have been a very different dynamic.
Definitely, because Ming was like the whipping boy that used to get beat up and stuff like
He's
that.
an arsehole. I absolutely hate the guy. I really do. That smoke face.
So after Sam's taking the hate and negativity out of fandom, she's already talked about hating someone already. So great
He's
start.
just so smug. He's so smug, and he does come up.
You don't know the guy. He might be different. You might hate his persona.
Persona. That's a good word. I hate his persona.
So coming back to the normality now, let's go back to where it started. Like I say, because after I watched Mallrats, as like what Grant said, he went back to revisit what came before, and I went back to the original, the groundbreaking and just basically the unbelievable for what they did with what it cost. I know you can tell it's shot on like cheap production and stuff, but what a film! Like say, what a dialogue! What that script must have been gold. And as soon as it didn't win Sundance, yeah. But I absolutely adored Clerks. When I watched that for the first time, I thought it was real life. I thought this was a documentary.
Yeah, it was so fly on the wall, wasn't it? The way that it was shot, and it was so different as well. But to know the backstory of like how Kevin got it made, like he had to sell his whole comic book collection, and he got money off a hurricane, one of his cars.
It was all on credit card as well. Like him and Moja maxed it out. Yeah, he gambled big, and like I say, if that wouldn't paid off, yeah. But
he won. Him and his business partner Scott Moja, they definitely won on that.
Wasn't it like 6 or 7 credit cards he maxed out for it as well?
About 20 grand, 20,000 in credit cards, I think, when he put in his autobiography in the book. He says that was as much as they could get, and everything else was just, as I said, they were filming when they were meant to be working as well. So when they were in the convenience store, like say they were actually working in the convenience store, that's the only time they could actually film it.
That's meant that. And the fact that they've got Walter Flanagan as 5 different characters is just genius. I love it.
So didn't they film a load of it through the night? Isn't that why the shutters are down in the first place? It was to mask the fact that it was nighttime outside.
I never even thought of that.
A clever way to get around it as well. Though, like I say, getting gum in the locks. I assure you, we are open today. Like I say, that sign is iconic. But like I say, talking about Walter Flanagan, like I say, I know he was a few different roles in that film. I know we've all watched it. What was your favourite Walter Flanagan moment in Clerks?
Is it the egg guy?
The egg guy was good.
Egg guy,
Donna?
Probably the same, yeah.
Well, Grant?
I wasn't aware of this guy playing multiple roles, but I love the egg guy, so I'm going to say that one.
That's him. He plays so many roles in the film.
Well, the egg guy, what was in the premise that he was a guidance counsellor and, like, say, having a meaningless job, trying to pick like the jobs for people and stuff like that. That drove them crazy. That was the story behind it. But I liked the offended guy who who was standing there, and, and Randle was talking about something so offensive, or and he went, and he just was the worst acting in. I know some of the acting in Clerks was terrible, but it was the worst acting and all. And he's got glasses on. He goes, "I'm really offended by what you're saying. I'm going to complain." And Dante is and Dante is like, "Oh shit, man! I didn't mean it. We kind of got carried away." And Randall's is like, "Fuck him, fuck that guy."
Fuck that guy. Oh, Walt never dreamed of being an actor or being on telly, so that's probably why.
But like I say, there's so many good things in Clerks. Like from start to finish, it's an absolute triumph. Of just comedy genius and quotability. Even before the podcast started, we were quoting elements. I'll let Grant have his moment to say what we were quoting. So
he's just, are you going to do it?
I was saving the 37 dicks bit for a prime moment with Donna on that casting couch. I was just going to throw it at her at one point and just watch her crumble and blush.
Why we're going to ask her how many that she's done, in a row.
I've got my casting couch out because that's actually what I'm going to do as a homage to Kevin Smith. I've got them all lined up back there.
Got all the dicks.
All the dicks, all 37.
But like I said, that whole conversation as well is just what conversations you had with people and stuff, and how men reacted to them type of conversations when it was okay for men to sleep or get them any blowjobs, but for a woman to be free and suck 37 dicks was the reaction was just so quaint and so of the time, I think. Because I think it was just before, when women's sexuality was allowed to be promiscuous or be like the male counterparts, where slut shaming was being frowned upon as well. So it kind of brought forward a lot, and even though it is smutty humour, it does shine a light on a lot of things quite apt at the time. So I never thought I'd say something so quite political on a Kevin Smith podcast as well.
I think because at the time, wasn't Madonna allowing women to explore sexuality? She was the one who was really bringing the forefront. So him just adding to the narrative, just splendid.
But that's good. I say with the narrative as well. But there's so many good jokes. From the Russian guy singing Berserker song, "Won't you suck my cock, Berserker?"
Did you just say making fuck?
I can see what's going to happen. Reenact Clerks.
You know what I think is the funniest part of that movie though is when Caitlin fucks the dead guy in the back.
Oh, good God, I forgot about that.
And she comes out all satisfied and fulfilled, saying, "That's never been like that. You just sat there and let me do whatever I wanted." And you made you think, what the fuck did she do to that guy? And to quote Brody as well, if Brody was in this film, say a Mallrats character, did he come?
He would have asked the question. Jason Lee's not in this one, is he?
No, he didn't make his debut till Mallrats. But I say, the introduction of Randle as the character, and when he walks on screen and he just stands next to that lass at the video store and just has a casual conversation, and how that plays out, saying, "Oh, what film are you looking for?" "Yeah, I saw it, that one in the window." She's like, "Yeah, I've been waiting for it for the last half hour." He's like, "I bet I'll get that film before you." And she's like, "Fuck you, dude." And he's getting $20, I'll get it before. And he just waltzes into the convenience store, gives some shit to Dante, and utters the famous lines, "I'm not even meant to be here today." And then goes back, and then her face when she realises he's the clerk, he's the guy that runs the store. She's not getting the movie.
No, she's not. Jeff Anderson just plays that part so well. When you watch it, in Zack and Miri, the minute he comes on screen, I'm expecting Randle.
Yes.
And that's what I'm expecting from Jeff Anderson all the time, because that character is perfect, and it is so Brian Johnson, it's scary.
But the thing is, though, with the Randle character as well, because everyone, after like what I read about after Clerks came out, was expecting him to be the next big thing. Was expecting him to launch,
explode.
But he had a massive falling out with Kevin Smith as well. So
over royalties.
Yeah, I don't think he actually made up until Zack and Marie. So that was the film.
It was Clerks 2.
Was it Clerks 2?
It was Clerks 2. Yeah, they had a massive falling out over royalties because I'm sure Kevin, in order for distribution, because I don't think he owns Mallrats. I don't think he owns it until like a few years' time. Mm-hmm. And that really puts a damper on royalties, especially for the cast. Mm-hmm. And I think Jeff Anderson really took it to heart. And that's why, because Clerks 2 was meant to come out pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And that's why it took so long for it to get made, because he wouldn't do it without him.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm glad they waited as long as they did, because I don't think it would have had as much of an impact. But I love, like I said, what happened with Clerks 2, but we'll come to that in a moment. But like I say, all the elements as well, like how Dante is not satisfied in a relationship that's... The lass was pretty perfect and doing everything for him, trying to push him. But he always had this, like say, Caitlin as the dream, and we got a little cat head there. But and
hello, princess.
But that was the whole story. Like, as much of a pussy Dante was, he couldn't make his mind up and make a decision. Which again, so many elements, and I love how a lot of them elements played into future films as well, not just like say the introduction of Jay and Silent Bob, and like say the Quick Stop, but like I say the funeral scene and how that played out in the Mallrats as well. So the funeral that they actually attended was the funeral, I can't remember the name, where the lass had a brain hemorrhage when she was swimming. Is that?
Oh yes, she did oh god, I can't remember what her name is, but yes. That is referenced again. That's so clever.
Yeah, but like I said, it's all elements in there. But I love the fact of not just that, but when they go back into, like say, Mallrats, and then like say Jay and Silent Bob, even if people play different characters, they still reference them same characters.
Yeah.
Like Ben Affleck playing Holden McNeil, and then what was he called in?
Shannon.
Shannon.
Oh, I can't remember what his surname is. Shannon something.
But like
the chat will put us right, I guess.
Possibly. But there were so many like elements, and I loved, as I said, the Star Wars references throughout.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to get to next, was the Star Wars, and the fact that they referenced it in Force Awakens too. Genius. Love it. Yes, Martin has brought up, and thank you to everyone who's in the chat tonight. Martin's just brought up the Star Wars
the contractor thing. Yes.
Which,
again, we had that debate at college. We had that conversation.
It happened.
Like say, as you said in the like say, going back to Clerks, the first Star Wars film, everyone was an Imperial. Everyone knew what they were doing. Everyone was drinking the Kool-Aid. So when the deaths came about, it was their own fault. So when the contractors in the death in Jedi, there was some innocence that like I say, that was flawed. So was the kill worth it?
Yeah, I think Martin's confused by Shannon was Ben Affleck's character, not Shannon Doherty. I know who that is.
Yes, so we'll move off from the chat. So yes, we're back
I was just checking to see if someone actually named what Ben Affleck's name was, because it's really annoying us.
Just call him the Uncle Fucker. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
But I'm interested in Grant. What was your favourite part of Clerks then?
That's what I was finding amazing about this conversation, is the fact that everybody's got their own different bits that they think is the best bit of Clerks. It's not very often that a joke like will make me laugh every time, especially if I've seen a movie as often as I've seen Clerks. But the bit in the car, I think they're going on the way to the funeral, the sucking your own dick bit between Randle and Dante is one of the most brilliantly executed jokes in the world, and it's just Randle. I've never done it. It's like boom.
Yes.
And no matter how often I see it, it buckles me double. I'm fetal position on the floor laughing at it, and it's just perfect.
But you know it's
really
coming
is.
though. You know it's coming, and the timing in it as well. But I think the chemistry and the timing between them two, like they hit gold with it. And as you said, that joke, and just where Randle is and how he's building up, trying to get him to admit something that he doesn't want to admit. Because to be fair, we all put our hands up. We've all tried it.
I haven't. You fucking pervert.
I'll line them up there for your grant there. That's all right. But yeah, and then when they come out the funeral at that point as well, when basically he's done something where he's decimated the corpse, or he's mentioned something about the nipples showing, I think, to family members. It's just that inappropriate humour. But he's got
zero filter on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he does not give a shit what comes out of his mouth, and it continues on in Clerks 2. He has no filter. I love it. Absolutely love it.
What about you, Sammy? What's your favourite part of Clerks?
Probably the 37 dicks.
37 dicks.
37. It's just the realization. It's just genius because you don't expect it to be like 37 dicks.
I love the reaction afterwards when he chases out the shop, saying "Don't suck any dicks away at the car park," and that guy standing there and he just realizes he starts running. He goes, "Hey, you get back here!" But
God.
But there's probably two bits that are absolutely like saying the one bit's a longer bit is the cigarette scene where the chewing gum guys trying to talk everyone out as buying cigarettes to sell his gum, and he's walking it out like he's and turns everyone on Dante, and he's got to get black lung out and everything like that, and doesn't matter what, because with Dante being such a pushover as well, he can't even get him out of his shop, which he should have. I love that scene and how it plays out.
But isn't that Walter Flanagan who then comes in and buys the cigarettes anyway? Like, he does not give a shit about what he sees. I'm sure it's Walt.
I don't think you see the face on that guy. It's like you just see the back of him because he gets so.
He just wants them anyway.
Yeah, but that and the bit where the lying down, cuddling him and his girlfriend Veronica, and they're talking about the honor system. How basically people are too scared, thinking they're being watched, that they don't steal or take any more than they need. And I just love that idea and that premise that, like, say, used like a bit of psychology in there, because to be honest, I wouldn't. Like, say, if I went in the store and I just had a sign, pay what you think, take as much, take your right change, I would think someone's watching us, so I wouldn't be able to bring myself to steal.
Yeah, I haven't got in this. I'll just go bright red.
And you get, like, it just shows you all the dickheads that you get in retail. Like, I'm laughing at the milkmaid who goes through looking at all the milks. And my ma did that every time we went shopping when I was a kid, and she was like, "You've got to go to the back." It's like, this actually happens.
I do that every time I go in Asda. I look for the one with the highest date. I have become a milkmaid.
Me too. I just grab. I don't really look. I'm going to do that from now on.
It's what makes Dante and Randle so relatable as well. Is like, Dante is everything you feel when you work in retail. I spent a long time in the retail service industry. The amount of times I've screamed, "I'm not supposed to be here today," I've lost count. But then Randle is everything you want to be.
Yes.
In that, that's everything you ever want to say to any customer ever.
You've totally hit it right on the head there. That's a brilliant analysis of that.
Yeah, but I love it in the store when Randall's sitting in the video store and that woman's trying to ask him questions about the movie, and you can tell he's got no fucking just interest at all, and she's trying to ignore her, and she's not. And then she tries to trick him, and then she's pissed off that he wasn't listening. And he goes, "I don't appreciate your ruse, madam." And it turns it back on her. And he's like, "I'm not coming here again." And he asks her to around and goes, "Right, you're banned. You're not coming back in here again." And you hear Jason, and I'll go, "Yeah, man, yeah, fucking get her." It's like that type of thing. I would love to do that on the phone. I would get sacked so quickly. Like I say,
that's a last day moment. That.
Yeah. Shit.
100%.
Yeah. If I ever win the lottery, don't put me on the phone.
just quote Kevin Smith to people all day, even if it doesn't make any sense. Just keep quoting it to them.
And we all get them, like I say, the shitbag customers as well. When, like I say, it's not even Dante's fault. The guy comes in, is asking about next door not being open, and he's got his videotape, and he's giving Dante a shit just because Randall's not there. and he's like say, look, fucker, you obviously didn't work out in life that well, that you're working as a clerk. And now when he comes in, take these videos, the number's this, remember it, and he leaves his key on the desk, and he just puts it in the bin. I was like, yes, I would so want to do that. I'm
just going to go and turn my light on. 2 seconds, just keep talking.
Yeah, Sammy's gone all goth on us.
What?
You've gone all goth on us.
I know.
It's all right, I can still see you. But there's so many little elements, like when they go and play hockey as well, and the fact that he's wanting to do that all day, and he gets to play hockey, and then some dickhead comes up and just because he wants to buy a pack of cigarettes, kicks the ball away. But even that's done really well when they're having arguments with his friends because his friends want free Gatorade, and I love that. Like say Donna pointed out at the start as well, that the dialogue and everything is stuff that we would have that as a conversation with your friends and people. Like say, I've had conversations, like probably Grant, bless him, working behind a bar, has probably had that conversation with don't know how many people saying trying to get a free drink out of him, and all that jazz. But it's just so relatable as well. That's probably why it hit home so much. Like it was of the time, and I would always love to. When people get introduced to Kevin Smith movies and going back through them, and it reminds them things, and even if they're not born of the time, like I say, because we're getting a lot of people now, like 10 years or even 15 years before Kevin Smith like made these movies, are now watching them and getting to relate and see what it was back then, because it was very much like that back then, and still elements quite like that too.
Yeah, 100%. It took me a long time to watch Clerks, though. I don't know why. It went out, when you go through the back catalogue of Kevin Smith, I never picked it up. It was only a few years ago I watched it and totally regretted it. I was like, I should have watched this years ago. This is an absolute lesson in film history.
Yeah.
And I've missed out for so long. I was like, I didn't get the Star Wars references that people were talking about because I'd never seen Clerks. I just assumed because it's Kevin Smith, of course he's going to talk Star Wars. Like, it's obvious.
But I don't think many films talked about Star Wars as fans.
No.
That was the breakthrough for me, because as I've said, we've had these conversations, but we've not seen it in movies. When they've referenced Star Wars, it's always been in jokes or snide little comments towards it, or like backhanded compliments, I would say.
100%.
Where this was treated as like as the motherfucking Bible, shall we say?
No, you're totally right. He always has done. I'll get this out of the way with. He is the guy who makes it okay in the industry for us to be the way we are. Like for me, he really does, because he is in his 50s now and he still acts the same way as he did when he was younger. And he is he's not ashamed.
No.
He loves what he loves.
Yeah.
And he loves to talk about it. He loves to fan out about it. He loves to geek out about it. And he just, for me, as a woman who's coming into her 40s, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm okay to be the way that I am. He's just, for me, he is everything. Absolutely everything.
To be fair, though, as well, we wouldn't have this fucking podcast if it wasn't for Kevin Smith, because I know we'll probably get like a lot of shit for it, but we rip off a lot of Kevin Smith's ideas. Even in the closing, I rip off Kevin Smith from Fat Man and Beyond. It's the same line he uses, because it's like my little dedication to him. So it's my little thank you for giving us this. So
he's the reason I got into podcasts. Smodcast was probably one of the first podcasts I ever listened to. I know Ricky Gervais is classed as the king of the podcast. Like, he started the whole genre, but Kevin Smith was so close behind, and Smodcast was huge, massive. And then it branched out into Hollywood Babylon, which today is still one of my favorite podcasts ever. Him and Ralph Garman just ripping the piss out of Hollywood is just hilarious. And he's the reason I wanted to do this, because I loved how he did it. He's done so many. Like, he does so many. But he's so good at them.
But yeah, it's one of them things that because with the internet now, there's so many arseholes who have their own opinions about shit and that thing. So it was quite nice to do this and have my say, but not doing it in a way where I'm shitting on anyone. I know I make jokes and stuff like that, but that's always been like the case. And I think Kevin Smith does the same, where he doesn't shit on things, he talks about things he loves, and that's the whole idea where this come from. So sorry, Kevin, if you're watching, I ripped you off, mate.
And also what I love so much about him, he's not afraid to cry and get emotional like we do about the things that we love. I do. But I remember watching him when he was asked to react to the Flash episode, you know, where the Flash goes back and like changes everything, and then he has to put it back again, and he gets to talk to his mom. And watching Kevin Smith cry for an hour was just so, like, I don't know, it was like moving. Like, I cried with him, even though I'd seen that episode ages ago. I still sitting every time he cries, I just bawl, absolutely bawl. But it's his passion. I love his passion behind things. He's fantastic. Shall we start going into other movies before I cry?
Has anyone got anything else to want to talk about Clerks? I know, Grant, you got a lot to say and a lot of love for the film, so I don't want to cut you short or anything.
No.
Honestly, mate, if I started talking about Clerks, I absolutely wouldn't stop. I think we've established the fact that it is a pretty much immaculate comedy. You know what I mean? It really is, start to finish. It's just perfection. I say, don't get me started. I'll shut up because there's a lot to get through.
You don't even have to be like a Kevin Smith, like, die-hard fan to love Clerks.
Nah.
You really don't. It's so standalone.
You just need to have worked in retail.
Yeah.
All you need to have done, and nearly everybody has, and you just look at it and go, yeah, I'm not doing that again.
Or if you do it a bit more like Randle, shall we say? Have the balls and say...
Yeah, that's what we should get to, like, the mantra for work is, like, be more Randle. What would Randle do?
Probably be a pie fucker or something like that.
Most likely.
But yes, so that was 1994 when this came out. So
yeah, Kurt Cobain died.
Oh well, it's going into the depths already.
Yep. I haven't got very many with Kevin Smith, so I'm going to take it where I can get it.
So again,
and there she is.
Oh no! I didn't see anything bad.
No, you didn't.
Let's just say no My Little Ponies were hurt during this podcast either, so it's all good.
I'm just going to keep my fucking mouth shut.
What about you, Donna? Have you got anything else you want to add about Clerks?
I think I've pretty much covered everything with Clerks. I just agree with everything Grant just said. Really, it's just amazing from start to finish. I
would love to do like a live watching with people just to see, like, if someone hasn't watched it before, just to see what the fuck this are we doing, or what's going on? Because again, it's a baptism of fire, basically.
Yeah, I think I'd be heartbroken if someone didn't get it. If they actually watched the whole thing and just went, "I don't get that," I think I'd be absolutely heartbroken. Yeah, exactly.
They obviously haven't worked in retail, I guess, or worked in a customer-facing or customer service job.
Or lived in the 90s.
One thing, 37 dicks.
Yep.
It's kind of ridiculous. I keep forgetting about that scene.
I'm just waiting for one of the ladies to put the hand up and saying I've done better.
I'll get that out of me.
Donna's giving us a little secret.
Donna just slyly takes a drink.
Just necked an entire pint in less than a second.
You sucked 68 dicks in a row.
No, don't spit.
Oh, Donna. Every time.
Something catching.
I know what you mean when you say you got all warm, sorry.
Something catch you in the back of the throat there.
I don't want to drink my drink anymore.
Yeah, it's funny.
That was a bit tangy, that, but yes.
I've been eating some. God.
Don't worry, I've not been eating any asparagus. It's fine. But yes.
Pineapple all the way, mate. Pineapple and strawberries.
That's the new safe word, pineapple.
Next film.
So I think the next one,
Mallrats,
yes.
Mallrats.
And this one had the better soundtrack, I have to admit. I loved Clerks, but the soundtrack was better in Mallrats.
Can I ask you a question? Have you seen the original cut of Mallrats?
Well, there's two. Well, it wasn't the original.
Like the theatre. Is it the theatre one or like the uncut one? Because
no, the original cut was the one we saw was the original cut, but the different version didn't come out. It was only released on the Blu-ray.
God, yeah, because I was so confused because obviously we get our films from sources and links aren't always right. And I put Mallrats on and the opening came on, which was totally normal. And then all of a sudden there's like a medieval knights thing going on and a Renaissance fair.
No, it wasn't a Renaissance. It was a Civil War reenactment.
That's it. Thank you. And I was really confused. I was like, what have I stepped into? I don't like this. Where's the original?
Well, apparently, the story behind it is this was the original film that when they done the test screening, people thought was over long. Well, Kevin Smith and his movies, he doesn't like them being long. He likes them being under 90 minutes, tell the story. And this one felt a bit long, so they did cut out all the Civil War and the basically the TS accidentally shooting the governor scene. That's why the scene near the end when he's going back into the cinema and that guy says, "Hey, weren't you on the news?" and he turns around and punches him, but you don't really understand that joke. But that's the only thing that was left in. But as I said, that was the running joke throughout, that he was meant to be a terrorist. But I think both versions work. I don't think both. Like say, I know they've reshot the beginning and done the breakup scene a lot quicker than they played out in. So we see the Blu-ray cuts. That's where I get it around in my head, because I know when it came out in Blu-ray it was double-sided. So you watch the original cut so you watch one cut on one side, then you flip it over, and then watch the other side. But they don't do DVDs like that anymore, do they? My ex. Oh, the Sammy froze.
I don't know why.
But yes, did any of you see the other cut, or have you only seen the original?
I've seen.
I'm completely oblivious to what you're talking about. The minute you started talking about a different intro, I thought you was going to say that you downloaded the porn version or something like that.
No, not this time.
No, there's actually two versions of Mallrats out there.
Absolutely unaware of it, mate.
So was I until I started watching it, and I was like, what the shit? I was so confused. So I had to stop it, Google it, and I was like, oh, I'm not watching this, mind. No, I want the normal, I need to see the normal. I need to see Rooker in all of his glory.
Well, you do see it, but instead of seeing it behind the film crew of the the news reporters, but basically the beginning, how it started out is Brandy and TS are on a roof, and Brandy's looking out at the stargazing for some reason, and there's a governor's ball on, and the governor's on. She's got these secret agent people around her and being all tactical, and then Rocker comes in trying to sell his show, and she was meant to give him a check to basically finance the dating show, and he's just this insufferable arsehole as he is, and she's getting more and more pissed off with him. And then TS has got a musket that he's got for the Civil War reenactment that he's doing a play for at school, and during an argument with his girlfriend, he gets the rifle stuck in her hair, and pulling it out, pulls the trigger and shoots. And everyone thinks that the governor's being shot at by TS. So Michael Rooker dives on the governor and got his foot in her tit, and she gets really, really pissed off and tears the check up, saying, "You're not getting the funding for your show now." And that's where the hatred before Rooker and TS comes about.
Right.
Yeah, and then basically... like I say, they shoot him and think he's a terrorist, and like I say, all end up getting clayed up and mixed up. But then TS goes to the house to try and then make up with Brandy, and then puts his foot. Well, he doesn't. Jason Lee, Brody goes all Brody and fucks everything up because they were about to get back together, and then that's when the mall happens.
Right. I turned it off. I turned it off at the rifle bit. I was like, nah, this is not my Mallrats. If I don't see Ethan Spooley looking at that schooner, I will go nuts.
It's a schooner. Ah, you dumb bastard. That's a sailboat. A schooner is a sailboat. You know what? That Easter Bunny isn't real. That's just a guy in a suit. Best scene ever.
It is brilliant. I did not know for years that was Ethan Spooley. I had no idea. I don't even know if I'm saying his surname right. I really don't. But I had no idea it was him. It wasn't until American History X. And I was like, oh my God, that's a sailboat guy.
But he was in, what was it, Boy Meets World and My Name is Earl as well.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. He was his brother?
Yep, he was Brody, played Randy.
Yeah, that's right. Damn,
Randy.
When every time that song came on.
Rob Bass. Was the DJ Rock and Rob Bass?
Yes.
It Takes Two.
Jason Lee in this movie is just utter perfection.
Gold.
Like perfection. There is nothing about this guy I do not love.
Wasn't he a skateboarder before this though?
Yeah.
Because you're casting this after like he was doing like skateboarding, like.
Yeah, he was like a professional skateboarder in a sense, like big within the skateboard. And I didn't realize how big the skateboarding industry was. But yeah, massive. And he's the ultimate nerd boy.
He's what I wanted to be fair. I wanted to be.
He's who I aspire to be every day. To be that level of nerd, So, he's so passionate about it, and he knows everything.
Yes. Well, not everything. He knows everything about bullshit and shite. He doesn't know how to treat his girlfriend. That's one way of sure.
That is true.
But but like I said, like we did with Clerks, Donna, what was your favourite part of Mallrats?
You say me there?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it's probably got to be the stink palm.
Would you like a chocolate pretzel?
I was so tempted to get some chocolate pretzels for tonight.
I couldn't look at Rucker the same way for a while after that, mind.
Go on, Donna, be honest. Have you tried doing that? Have you put your palm in the crook of your ass and seen if it stung?
Be honest, you're among friends.
No, should I?
maybe after the podcast you can get tucky with it.
He's in the room, so let's have a look now.
How many people in the chat are offering to pay for it now?
Martin will get his mop out.
Oh, sake, where is tonight going?
It was never going to go to a pleasant place.
It wasn't, was it? We do a Kevin Smith podcast. It was never going to be, safe. Nicey nices. Safe is probably the right word.
Is it safe?
The stink palm.
Yes.
For me, it's a stink palm as well, to be perfectly honest.
Just to see Rucker's reaction.
Oh, that face, man. It's when he does that with his fingers. Oh.
When he's
rummaging around
all over his hands and licking his fingers and all that kind of stuff. It's just absolutely brilliant. It goes so overboard. Are you getting all hot there, Sammy?
No, I felt a bit sick actually.
And when he takes the packet out of Brody's hand and starts eating them as well, and he's like,
exactly.
"Stop, man! Stop!" It's like you go all get Aliens and Bill Paxton. Game over, man! Game over. But probably mine was I'm trying to think now. I only watched it quite recently, but I watched the longer version. Probably the fortune teller.
I knew one of you had to bring it up.
The three nipples, and just to see how Brody went from pervert to repulsed within 30 seconds, and how TS was like, "Oh, I didn't even know she had three nipples. Fuck off." She had a decent rack. You would have been looking.
Absolutely. It's amazing how he's like a proper sleaze, and then the minute he's got sleaze in front of him, he just changes completely, completely flips the narrative on that one. Mm-hmm. I love his reaction though. He's so blunt in that scene.
What about you, Sammy? What would you say?
I'm torn. The scene, where the suit is, and you've got the guy playing Dante. I can't remember what his real name is, and
Gil Hicks.
Jason Gil Hicks and Jason Lee's shouting at him. It's so funny because I know he probably wouldn't have been able to keep like a proper straight face. And also when you get first introduced to Jay and he's smacking his hand up against the kitties and he's, hey, kitty, kitty. Mm-hmm. And then he does his Wolverine shinky shink. You start to get Jay's like mannerisms coming through, and he's Snoochie Boochies comes out in there as well. Mm-hmm. But what we can't not talk about when you come to Mallrats is the Stan Lee cameo.
Because I tear up. Honestly, I teared up watching it. I only watched it a few weeks ago, but I got emotional watching it.
Yeah, that's it's true love right there, isn't it? Like, this is how lovely Stan Lee is. When he read the script, it mentioned nothing about the end bit where when TS goes up to him and says, "Is that all true?" And he went, "Absolutely, it's not true." Mm-hmm. He only did that because he didn't dare be acting unfaithful to his wife. Mm-hmm. And he ad-libbed that, and Kevin left it in because he's such a nice guy and he loves his wife so much that even in acting as another character, as like the Stan Lee in Mallrats, he still couldn't act like he was unfaithful to his wife. Yeah, he's just lush. I love the man so much.
I love the like I say the Captain Marvel cameo as well, when you've got Stan Lee on the actual train rehearsing his lines with the Mallrats script.
Did anyone else cry when they saw that?
I didn't cry. I thought but I knew Kevin Smith would. So
he didn't. Apparently, he didn't know about it, but he cried when he got the news about it. But yeah, I remember slapping Carolyn and going, Mallrats, and just bawling.
Kevin Smith asks you universe as part of the MMCU. Now that is pretty special. Like I say, especially as I said for a nerd, like I say as Kevin Smith, that's the pinnacle. But I love it. I love the fact, like I say, just going off topic about Kevin Smith, when he's done interviews and stuff in the past, because everyone thinks he should like be doing these big budget Marvel films with him being such a comic book nerd. But he says no, leave it for people who he wants to. He just likes making these little productions and these little films and these little episodes of TV shows, and then he's got no interest at all about doing a Marvel because it'll be too much work. And if he fucked up, he wouldn't be able to forgive himself.
No, and he also says, "I'm a fan too. Mm-hmm. Like I want to see this. Like I know that there's men out there and women out there who can do better than me, and I want to enjoy something. Like I don't want to be involved in everything."
And let's give appreciation as well. How fucking good was Ben Affleck in this film? As a smarmy cunt, you just wanted to hate this bastard.
Shannon Hamilton, that was his name.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martin. He was that face, that smug, horrible. I think you just wanted to twat him one. Mm-hmm. Hate him as Shannon. Love Ben, but hate him as Shannon.
What about you guys? Any favourite actors or moments other than the ones we've discussed there?
Possibly when answering their questions on the game show, that was hilarious as well.
Go on, Donna, what sound do you make when you're making whoopee?
Whoopee. I love it.
I was expecting you to go.
She's got the straw out again.
Donna, you really choose the wrong times to take a drink.
She's just
maybe I can pull the lid off.
I think you might make it worse.
Just demonstrating a technique, that's all.
I also think this is where the came from as well, was Mallrats. Anytime I think of Kevin Smith, that soundbite comes in my head. Yes, I've just remembered that bit. And also, Tell Him Steve Dave.
Tell Him Steve Dave, the famous lad. And again, if this guy reads comic books, doesn't mean he can't start some shit.
Fucking love it. Brody is Walt Flanagan, by the way. Mm-hmm. That the character of Brody is based on Walt Flanagan, his knowledge of comic books, the way that he goes on about music, about video games, and the fact that the drink, when he gets his refill, Walt used to do that all the time.
Well, he does base all the characters on people he's been with. Like Jason Mewes isn't Jay is not a character. It is just Jason Mewes. Because apparently when he told the stories that Jason Mewes, when he first was introduced to Jason Mewes, he walked into the Quick Stop and just starts sucking off everything, saying, I'm going to suck this off, I'm going to suck this off, and sucking this off. So just grabbing anything that looks phallic and just to start sucking up. So it just shows you what it is. And like, yeah, absolutely brilliant. Love Mallrats to death. Now, are you happy to move on to the next one, or we got? Actually, one thing I do want to mention about Mallrats, it does have a bit of a questionable scene in when it talks about the 15-year-olds doing the book and then showing the video of Ben Affleck doing it from behind. That is a bit to the nose.
Shit, yeah.
Oh my God, the kid on the escalator.
Would somebody get that kid off the fucking escalator?
Does nobody shout that when they're in the Metro Centre? There's a kid on the escalator again.
Don't know, but Donna's going to be doing it. If we're going to Newcastle tomorrow, I'm just going to shout at Donna. Donna, get off the escalator!
Wasn't the bit with the security guard not in the original cut?
Which one? Oh, the one where he fucks her. No, that was
Yeah.
it. No,
What's it called? LaRousse, is it?
Laforge.
LaForge.
Yeah, that bit wasn't in the original cut, was it?
No, that was another thing that was added there, where to basically get rid of the security guard that she goes off and fucks him as well. So
Oh, right.
that wasn't in the original one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'd have been pretty funny.
So yeah,
What is the next film?
Chasing Amy.
Ugh.
Oh, don't you dare! I'm
No,
sorry,
I do
this
like
is
no, I do no.
absolutely brilliant.
Out of all of this, I said I've not had a bad word about any Kevin Smith film whatsoever. But Chasing Amy is my least favorite,
How?
and it's because Joey Lauren Adams. It's the voice. The voice.
It's one of the most meaningful ones out there.
It is.
Actually,
It's
I'd say
the end
heartbreaking.
scene. The end scene
Mhm.
is beautiful when Kevin's talking about his Amy.
Yeah.
It is absolutely beautiful, but it's just if I'm going to watch a Kevin Smith film, I'm not picking Chasing Amy.
It's got some of the best lines in it as well, like the best insults. You're just a tracer, man. You're a tracer.
Oh, that's right.
And it introduces us, like say, to Holden and Jason Lee's character, because it wasn't Brody in this one.
No, it wasn't.
Was
And
it Banksy one?
Banksy, I think it was. It sounds
No, Bartleby's.
Bartleby's
No, that's Dogma.
Dogma. That's Dogma.
I can't think of it. Banky?
Banky.
Banky.
Banky, I think it was. But like I said, again, just been Brody, but a lot more toned down, a lot more bitter and angry. But this again, the film is I love it. I think it's hilarious, but it is uncomfortable. But it's uncomfortable in the right stages and the right ways. I know Kevin got a lot of shit after this film just because, like say, a lot of people start getting the message saying, well, took their own opinion that it was just saying all lesbians need is a big deep dick into to change them over. But he was saying, no, if you got that from that film, you weren't watching the film, right?
Yeah.
Because it's about love. It's about you can love people and not be in love. And not have the same type of films as different types of love, and that's what Chasing Amy is. It's a comic book film about comics, but about love, and that's the elements I love about this film. And some of the best scenes as well. The Milton Black guy, is that on point and hilarious in certain ways, especially when he gets called out, like after his show, when he gets the ringers in the audience to, what's a Nubian? And like when in a restaurant afterwards, he gets shits on you, nearly made us laugh, and like say playing this Milton Black guy, but he's a homosexual as well. So it's just elements is brilliant, and like say, and how one person can get everything so wrong, and Holden, as the eternal romantic he is, and he does create the comic about Jay and Silent Bob, and that leads into future films, and again it holds up. But the whole premise is basically Ben Affleck thinks he can't share his love with his best friend and the girl he loves, so he tries to introduce a threesome, and the awkwardness and just how bad he read that situation is just brilliant, and it's brilliant cinema.
Mm-hmm. After listening to your talk there, I might go back and watch it with a fresh pair of eyes. I didn't look at it that way at all. Mm-hmm. And it's been a long time since I watched it, so I might watch it again. You quite sold it there. You talk very passionately about it.
I do, because I don't think Chasing Amy gets the credit it deserves, because like I say, because a lot of people did get the wrong message from that.
Yeah.
Of like, say, as I said about the whole like the feminist movement. Again, not saying anything bad. I'm not saying anything against it, but I think if you saw that from that film, maybe you're going in with an agenda.
Yeah,
And I'll call people out for it.
Yeah. Isn't the story very loosely based on his actual relationship with Joy?
Possibly, but again, he does all these films, like except from Jersey Girl, I believe.
Well, we're not talking about Jersey Girl. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Have we watched it? We are.
Yep.
I watched it as well last week.
So we're gonna go through it. We're gonna hold each other's hands and we can get through it. As Donna got through Tusk, we can get through Jersey Girl.
You know, we haven't mentioned though the scene in Chasing Amy, the oral injury scene.
Go on.
You set yourself up for your mind.
That's my favourite scene of this movie, though. I just think it's hilarious. Where they're like Holden's sitting there looking like pissed off, and they're just talking about all the injuries they got.
Yes.
I actually took something away from that, and I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to tell everybody what to do because of that part, because of that fucking scene.
Oh,
that's the thing. A lot of people get things like, well, Donna got off from that, so it's good.
That's how you take it. Sammy's like, you got off.
Yeah, I know.
And she's at it again. Every time we mention sex, she sucks on the straw. There's something going on here.
It's like she's signaling something.
It's like a little safety blanket, I think.
Oh, Donna.
Did it? Oh, Donna. She got the fucking Orgasmo picked out the film. No, Donna.
You were just fucking bitter that Goonies didn't get picked and Orgasmo did. You simply are just bitter.
I will talk about the fucking Goonies one day.
Are you just going to do it over the top of Orgasmo instead of we ask questions and like go back and forth with each other? You're just going to start going through Goonies or Stand By Me.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to the podcast. My ego isn't that big yet.
Yeah.
But bitch, please.
listen to him.
Anyway.
He's got his big boy pants on tonight, hasn't he?
But,
where were we?
Chasing Amy, but I think this came out the same year, which I think he got writing credits for as well. Good Will Hunting, because he helped Matt and Affleck got the Oscar, but I think he didn't co-write, but he helped them with the writing.
I think he pieced it together for them.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like script writing, he was the one who kind of pieced it all together. Have you ever heard him talk about the scenes in Good Will Hunting? It's beautiful to listen to Kevin talk about Good Will Hunting. If you ever get a chance to listen to some of his podcasts when he's talking about it, it's just lovely.
I don't think because he always does himself down on it as well. Because when people ask him the question about it, he says, "Look, these guys wrote a brilliant film. Like what they wrote was magic. All I did was point them in directions and help." But I don't think there's definitely when you watch Good Will Hunting, there is Kevin Smith elements in there, and you can get tones and pitches from it. So I still don't think he gets the credit he deserves with that movie.
I think that's the case with a lot of Kevin Smith's writing, because he's not just a movie writer, he's not just a script writer, he's also a comic book writer as well. And because of his nerd cred, he gets looked at with a fine-tooth comb with his work. And a lot of people give him a lot of shit for his writing abilities in comics. Personally, I can't knock him at all. Daredevil was fantastic. Is Batman, what was it called? Onomatopoeia?
Batman, because he doesn't...
That's not the name, but there was a character in there. Was it Onomatopoeia? So I loved him when he said it. But he's...
But the Spider-Man he's done, like we've talked about his comics, Spider-Man, the Black Cat, the Evil That Men Do, groundbreaking. Like talking about, like, say, sexual assault on black, like say Felicity Hardy, I was right, Felicity Hardy, Black Cat, yeah.
Yes.
As a child, and how she was getting revenge and stuff like that, and how dark, and like especially for a comic, I think it was a 4 or 5 parter. If anyone out there wants to read, like I say, a Kevin Smith comic, go for that one. That Black Man, or as Sam said, his Daredevil run was probably
phenomenal.
up there with Frank Miller, and I'll dare say it.
I would totally back you on that one. I love Daredevil. Frank Miller is the reason I love him. Kevin Smith just continued that love affair with Matt Murdock for me. Also, well, I'll go into this later. I wanted to go into the whole Superman lives thing, but I'll talk about that later.
I'm sure we've talked about that on podcasts before.
most likely, but I just think it's worth another mention because it could have changed a lot of things for Kevin Smith if that actually went ahead.
Fuck Tim Burton.
Fuck Tim Burton. Fuck him.
But yes, Chasing Amy, yes.
I will watch it with a fresh pair. I honestly, after what you just said there, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I will watch it with a fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah, like I say, it's probably one of the better love stories out there, and it's about unrequited love, and different types. That's probably the best way I'd describe it, because not all love is the same. Not all love can be appreciated or shown the same. So, it's like I say, I think it gets a lot of hate and a lot of people just discount it because it's a Kevin Smith film, but it's up there. It's quite a special one, I think.
Never discount a Kevin Smith film.
Yes.
What's next?
The one that you and Grant were introduced to,
Lord
and Saviour, the one where he mocked God and even protested.
And the Catholics came hard for him.
They went all Father Tedding on him and said, "Oh, I'm against this type of thing and that." And even Kevin Smith protested his own film, which was hilarious.
Did you ever read the sign that he had when he protested his films? Because me and Anne still laugh about it today.
Can't remember.
Dicks are yummy.
Dicks are yummy, yes.
Dicks are yummy. Because he was with his friend, I can't remember, I think his friend's called Jerry. I might be wrong on that. And Jerry is a bear. Big bear. And he put, he said something along the lines of Dicks is something, so he just put Dicks is yummy. And they just stood in the crowd and protested his own film. Fucking genius.
Nobody recognised him at all. That was the brilliant thing. That showed you how much attention they paid to the film. It was just like, oh, this is an anti-Catholic, anti-religious. Well, like I say, that it was anti-Catholic. That there was the Catholics that went all nuts over it. Sorry, I know we take religion out of this, but yeah. No,
you can't. If you're going to talk dogma, you got to talk. You can't not talk religion. It's the whole thing is everything based around. But Kevin was really like the dogma is written from the heart with Kevin because he is a Catholic and he has got a very strange relationship with religion. So dogma really comes from the heart. But for me, it's just pure. It's just pinnacle of perfection.
I think as well, I'm sure he came out and said that he wrote this film for his mum.
Most likely.
Because his mum was like...
Dad.
Was it his dad?
His dad died. He's got a eulogy on it on the end.
Oh my gosh.
I knew it was one of his... Like, say, because he...
Don.
I love when he talks about his dad as well. Like, say,
Don, the postal guy. I love him.
But yeah, like, say, the film that gave us fucking Buddy Christ, for God's sake. And you cannot buy that statue now. It's expensive. I've tried.
He was everywhere though, wasn't he, at one point? Then all of a sudden it just became really hard to get a hold of him.
And was this the first one that introduced us to movies as well?
Yeah. Yes, it was. It was. Movie burgers, yeah.
The sacred cow.
Which America now has movie stores in. Bastards. Absolute bastards. We don't have them here.
I tried ordering a movie shirt, like the actual employee shirt, and the cost was like about 60 or 70 quid, and I was like,
no.
I've not paid over 20 quid for a shirt in my life, so it's not going to start now.
Same here. I have a rule when it comes to t-shirts too. Well, gosh, the only thing that drives me nuts about this film is Bethany. I don't particularly like the actress who played her. And she was apparently a nightmare to work with. This is why she has never been in another Kevin Smith film, because she was a nightmare to work with. When Alan Rickman has a problem with another actor, you've got problems.
He is the nice guy of Hollywood. Like, so you never hear anyone say anything nasty about Alan Rickman or anything like that.
No. They did not get on well at all. But you don't see that. You never see that that chemistry. She doesn't portray that across in her character. But you could take her out of it, and I'd still love this film so much.
So leading into getting a bit of a habit now, so we'll go back to see what your favourite scenes is in Dogma. So we'll start with Grant this time. Give Donna a little break so she can recover after the last episode.
Just going for that straw. Wait. The boardroom scene. Absolutely adore the boardroom scene. I think it's got a little bit of everything in it. There's comedy elements, but then as he starts walking around the board table and he gets to the CEO at the end and what he says to him, it's just it doesn't wreck the comedy, but it just kind of
takes it to a new
absolutely
level.
just cuts it in half. And just for that brief moment, it becomes so overboard serious in amongst all of the the ridiculousness that happens all the way through the film. There's just a moment of complete solemn heartbreak, if you will.
Justification as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, these guys are the villains, but what they're about to do is actually okay. Every single, they all deserve to die, especially the guy at the head of the table definitely deserves to die.
And
it's like,
we're okay with this.
I like that.
Should you let them back in?
Yeah.
It's,
But I love the fact as well, all the way through that scene, it tells you what each of them does. And when as Grant said, gets to the CEO, he whispers in the ego, and you see Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in the back and goes, "That was your own son as well, you sick fuck." So it just takes you to that level what it could have been. And then, like I say, when they walk out the room, and then Matt Damon walks back in with a smile on the face and that big piece he's got, and all you hear is the gunfire, and all it does is it focuses in on the movie statue and the blood scattering over it. So again, it doesn't take it to the extremes where, like, most films today would show you them type of elements, but it kind of laid it back. But you got the brutality, but then but with the humor as well that they brought back into it, like the last person who they saw was a good soul, he wanted to kill her as well because he didn't bless him for sneezing.
You didn't say bless you, Loki. That scene for me gives me so many Tarantino feels. Because just the dialogue, but I get that a lot and I know they're friends. So I do get that a lot with Kevin Smith's films, especially later on films. His dialogue gets longer, it gets better, it gets detailed. But I get that in this. You're right, when he doesn't turn the notch to Tarantino's level with the gore, which for me is what I'm expecting because of the dialogue that's going on in there and the interactions with everyone. And he just does it so subtly. And it was a brilliant, brilliant scene. Love it.
Lovely, Donna.
Probably the opening scene with Metatron and when she tries to put him out with the fire extinguisher.
And he has his arms up like that, man. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, starts coughing. I don't know. I just really like that scene.
Well, it's Alan Rickman at his best. He's just chewing the scenery, and when he pulls his pants down as well to show that he's got no junk.
Ken doll, Alan Rickman. Yep. Never in my life thought I would see a Ken doll, Alan Rickman.
But he's just
brilliant.
Dry wit, and like say the way he delivers it as well, just like he's sick of this shit and he just wants to get it over with, and he's like, how can he not believe us? He's got his wings out, and she then they zaps him to like the Mexico bar that she thinks, oh, I'm in Mexico now, and then again gives you a bit more of the story that now the angels can't drink alcohol because of, like I say, Bartleby and Loki's decisions that was made. It's again just little nuances that you didn't think you needed, but worked so well, and it plays out so well in the final as well. Because when Matt Damon's swigging the bottles of whiskey and stuff, getting pissed after he's cut his wings off, he's mortal, and he's like, it's probably been first time he's been drunk in eons.
Yeah, it just brings that extra little layer to the characters without being too over the top and too detailed about things. My favorite has to be Jay's speech in the calf about Sherman, Illinois.
Right.
Fucking John Hughes.
And fucking John Hughes lied to him because there is no Sherman, Illinois.
Kevin Smith's reaction, and there's nothing worse than watching a fat man fucking weep and just go with his cigarette. Absolutely fucking buckles me every time.
It's fucking genius. It's a genius scene again. Just brilliant dialogue, and the fact that he got through that was just genius. Hey God, Sherman, Illinois. Breakfast Club. He references the Breakfast Club.
That was again like I think that's the type of films that Kevin Smith grew up on. Like say the Breakfast
John
Club.
Hughes.
John Hughes. Well, to be fair, everyone's childhood of that age range. But
I love the fact that they take a dig at him as well, because John Hughes had something to do with Home Alone. And the bit with Salma Hayek, and she's going, I'm responsible for 19 out of the top 20 movies of all time. And she goes, the one with the kid and the burglars and somebody sold her soul to Satan to get the grosses up on that piece of shit. Like, after all that homage, they're also like, yeah, come on, dude, that was low.
Brilliant.
But yeah, probably my favourite scene. I'm trying to think now, because like I say, I love Dogma from start to finish.
Say Salma Hayek.
I'm going to go with not the Salma Hayek. Like I said, that was pretty breathtaking, but we're not. Was it around about the same time we got From Dusk Till Dawn? Or,
yeah.
So
gotta be.
Yeah, before.
Bit after.
Bit after. Yeah.
Maybe.
Possibly, because like I say, I'd never got over that. That was still, like I say, I'm still not over it, to be honest.
Who is?
We could do a full episode on just that scene, but yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, probably the poop monster, and how it came about, and like I said, just the whole reactions to it, and like, and Jason Lee's overacting, and again as what was he?
You said his name earlier, Grant.
Bartleby, was it? No, that was Ben Affleck's, wasn't it?
Azriel.
Azriel, that's it. Sorry, I thought it was Bartleby. It's not. You're right.
Azriel, like every scene that Jason Lee was in this film was just pure gold. From the point where he took over that lass's house just because she had like, what was it?
Air conditioning.
Central air.
Central air. There's nothing more sinister than central air.
I'm a fucking demon.
I'm a fucking demon. Hit me with the golf club, and then he sees his chest just explode.
Yeah, it's so good. He just looks good as well. Like that white suit really suits him.
It does, on the little black ones.
Yes. I've never found Jason Lee attractive until then, maybe.
It's probably the just overall demeanour of him in that.
That's true. He is pretty sinister.
You know, he's going to be in
a charming way.
It'd be in some BDM's hit, so.
Kind of reminds us a bit of Lucifer.
BDSM, mate.
Sorry.
So Grant had to correct him there.
You can't have that party without the sadism, mate.
Sorry, I misspoke. I can't really misspoke with, like, say, the king of sadism, like, with us tonight.
That's no way to speak about Sammy.
Thanks. I'm being careful tonight.
We'll see.
She'll put her foot in it somehow.
Somehow, we've still got time. What's the next one after Dogma? I really can't remember like his list of like in chronological order.
Jane Silent
Bob Strike.
Oh my God, Suzanne.
Yes, we finally got to meet Suzanne after the teased in Mallrats.
All that I wanted of a girl.
And this is the one where the cast was fucking up there. Like anyone who was everyone was in this movie.
Everyone.
Like
Carrie Fisher's in this movie.
Will Ferrell, Mark Hamill.
Yes, oh my God, Mark Hamill's in it. Cockknocker
sucks off a trucker, man.
Cockknocker's in this.
Yep. Cockknocker.
Jason Briggs and James Van Der Beek.
I'm the pie fucker.
Guys, Carrie Fisher, man.
I know we've already mentioned it. Yeah. Sam called her.
I didn't hear that.
No, Sam called her out. Carrie Fisher as a nun.
As a nun.
Do you follow the rules? And Jay tries to go down on her.
Yep. You've got Kevin's wife, Jennifer. What's her surname?
Schwalbach.
Schwalbach.
Yep.
Schwabach.
We'll go with that.
You've got
Eliza Dushku's in there,
Eliza
isn't
Dushku. Yes, you've got Shannon Elizabeth,
yeah.
who look absolutely fine in that PVC outfit. I don't mind saying that so myself.
And they get a fart joke in there as well.
They do. Can't not with PVC, really.
Sean William Scott as
Yes, the guitar playing guy.
Follow me as much as she wanted. Sorry, what?
Sean William Scott was in as the douchebag guitar guy. That guy wants to fuck a sheep. He's not one of us. And we've got the infamous line, "I'm the clit commander. I'm the commander of the clit. Nobody commands the clit like me."
It's even got the kid who played his little brother in American Pie.
He does it?
At the end, when they go knock on all the houses, got Stifler's little brother.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, was that?
I just always remember.
Is that the internet reviews?
Mm-hmm. And they go like,
what the fuck is the internet?
Stop punching it. The wife's got Stifler's little brother. That's the first one they knock on.
Me and Anne still quote that today. What the fuck is the internet?
Well, this is one where I think that the View Askew universe kind of imploded on itself, where it had all the different elements. It had Brody, it had like say, Alden McNeil who was in it. Bong Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms. So yo,
you give us that infamous line that we quote still to this day. Phantoms is not a bad film, actually.
They weren't talking no shit about Ben Affleck.
They were not. They were not. Oh gosh, I'm trying to there's so many people in this film. I'm trying to think who else is in it, but I think you might have covered everyone.
Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson's in this film.
Yeah, he plays the sheriff that goes, "Let's go cornhole some drunks."
Yes, he does.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's the one with Will Ferrell's as the animal rescue guy.
As in Judd Nelson
from the Breast Club. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
He plays
when they're in the back here.
Yeah.
Bit. Let's go outside.
He's the sheriff.
My gosh, I did not know that.
You can't really recognise him though. Like, I don't think you can tell it's him.
No. He was probably only in it for a few minutes because he's because when Will Ferrell jumps in the tunnel and they have the whole fugitive moment, they basically Judd Nelson's saying, "Oh fuck this guy, let's go and cornhole a drunk," and he go and all the sheriffs go back, all the deputies and stuff leave, but that was the big scene there, but. I still love the fact that guy who was in he was like an American comedian. I can't remember his name, but he played the Backlock security guys, and he's get this guy will suck you off if you let us in. He goes, "What do you think? I'm not gay," and he goes, "How about I suck him up and you watch?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm into that." But he's in loads of American comedies.
And at the end, you've got to say, what a lovely tea party."
Isn't that close to the scene with the Good Will Hunting too?
Yes. How do you like these apples, Will? But it is just like a mockumentary of everything. Like say, when they're asking Dawson, did he fuck Pacey? Did he fuck Joey and stuff like that? And it's, well, there was this one time, and they start going on. But like say when they knock him out, when Suzanne knocks him out, and then they change clothes with him. And like I say, I said it before, but that line just breaks me every time when Jason Biggs says, "The pie fucker." Just breaks us.
I love the fact that he can make fun of himself in that way.
Yes.
Oh, so funny. Do we have favourite scenes from this?
I think, like I say,
mine's already been mentioned.
Yeah, mine
cafe
too.
Scene.
What about you, Donna?
I love the cafe bit.
All right.
Just a bit where they turn up with Jason Biggs and that there when they're in costume. That's the thing for me.
Blunt Man and Chronic.
Yes.
I got the comic books.
I've got the figures, I think, somewhere.
Have you?
But I think because Kevin Dickinson, I've got them still, but they're locked away. Got us when I moved in Winnick. He bought us them as a present, but they're signed by Kevin Smith and Jason Biggs.
Oh, that's mint.
Yeah, he's not just a biggest dickhead on the group. He's a lovely guy, really.
He's I never thought that. He just comes across a bit grumpy sometimes. He's never ever. Anytime I comment on something, he never comments anything bad back. So I've got a lot of time for Kev.
just trolls me most of the time. But
yep, it's just you. I think mine's already been covered.
Cool. So moving on. So I think.
Oh, here it is.
Which one?
Here it is.
Which one was
The
it?
one that Paul doesn't want to talk about.
It was Jersey Girl after this.
I've never seen
Next
it.
one's Jersey Girl.
So what's your favourite scene, Grant? Defend this
The
film.
bit where Jennifer Lopez dies.
She dies!
She dies early on, yes. That's the premise of the
Yeah.
film, yeah.
Yeah, she's in for like 30 seconds.
Oh.
Have you not seen it, Sammy?
Nah, no, it doesn't exist to me.
You know what? I told Paul that I've got a 20-minute monologue this, and I do, so all of you mute yourselves. No, of course not. I think the problem, it's not a problem with Jersey Girl, but it came out at a difficult time because of exactly what Paul has just said there about it being the moment that the Viewer Skew universe imploded on itself. Kevin Smith had done absolutely everything that he could do, and he decided to retire Jay and Silent Bob. So the film that came out after it was always going to get a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jersey Girl, if you hold it up against Kevin Smith's other films and what your expectations were leading up to Jersey Girl, of course you're going to say it's shit.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you are. There's no Jay and Silent Bob. There's no toilet humor. There's no 37 dicks. There's no fucking a dead guy. There's no sailboat. There's no snooch to the motherfucking nooch or anything like that. You hold Jersey Girl up against any other romantic comedy out there, and it wipes the floor with them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It really, really does. I think the only thing that it suffers from is that it's too heavily cast. There's so many people in there that can steal a scene. You've got George Carlin in there. You've got Ben Affleck in there. You've got Matt Damon in there. For the time, you've got Jason Biggs in there, just coming off the back of fucking his pies and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Very famous face in there. You've got Liv Tyler in there. You've got Jennifer Lopez in there. You've got more A-listers than you would expect in a shit film like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In a bullshit romantic comedy, all you ever get is the lead male and the lead female, and everybody else is a bit part actor. And all the bit part actors are played by really big names.
Yeah.
And it's a constant fight for dominance in the scenes that makes it feel a little bit flat as far as romantic comedies is concerned. But if you watch it after you've watched Four Weddings and a Funeral,
yeah,
or after you've watched Legally Blonde or something like that, you realise how good it is in the genre that it was created. And that's my bit on Jersey Girl.
No, it's a good...
I like...
You're spot on, but like I said, the biggest problem I ever had, this was the film where Kevin Smith decided he wasn't going to let anyone control his films, because this was so studio edited and studio interfered with that it kind of broke him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think he's come out and said, because there's two versions of Jersey Girl, the one that Kevin Smith made that had more Jennifer Lopez in it than it did.
Yeah.
And then when the studio got involved, they cut half the film out. So we didn't ever get the full Kevin Smith version of Jersey Girl. That's why I was
definitely.
That's why I was a little bit
I think you need to... Sorry, mate. I think that the problem with Jersey Girl, it's exactly what you've said there, is you don't see enough of his relationship with Jennifer Lopez to truly empathise with his heartbreak when she dies. You know, there's quite a bit of hostility in those early scenes as well. You've got that little argument scene that they have in the bathroom and what have you, and it's almost like this set Jennifer Lopez up with Ben Affleck, like he's maybe not happy with her. Whereas I think if that extended bit and you feel the love between them and the true feeling that it would be if you lost your partner in childbirth, could have maybe added a hell of a lot to how the audience perceived it.
Yeah. He's always came out and said we've never seen the proper version of Jersey Girl, the one that he wanted to make. But the only thing as well, as you said, through the hatred in a bit, this is the film that broke up Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. This film caused them two to break up because they couldn't stand each other after this for a while.
What's the film that broke Ben and Kevin up?
This one, actually. This one.
They fell out, didn't they?
Yeah. No. Because he did a cameo on Clerks 2 as well. So I think it was a bit later on that they actually had fallen out.
Oh, I know what it was over. It wasn't a film. It was his wife. It was Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
She does not like him.
No.
Because they bought his house on the Hollywood Hills. And he didn't get on with Jennifer. And obviously Ben cut him out. But yeah, sorry, I thought it was a film that they fell out over.
No, I don't think they've had problems on set or anything like that. They've always like say even when he done the cameo on Daredevil, like I say, because he played a little small role in that. Ben Affleck got him in on it as well.
Can we just talk about their cameos for a second? Jay and Silent Bob and Scream.
Yep.
3. Yep. Brilliant. Kevin and Jay in Fanboys.
Yep.
When they're in the toilet scene.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Can't name any other ones.
To be fair, there's not that many where they did do the cameos, but I think, as I said, with Jersey Girl, it could have been more, but
I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. I knew the heartbreak that came with Kevin's and how Kevin worked with it. It's this and Cop Out. Can't watch them.
But that Cop Out's a completely different fish. Like say,
yeah,
Cop Out's not a Kevin Smith film. Cop Out's a film that he never wrote. He was paid to direct because he said he wanted to try doing someone else's work. And
that makes sense.
And that's when Cop Out came about. But Jersey Girl, I think, because what I've got to admire so much for Kevin Smith, he tries different things. He'll he'll never say I'll never do this or I'll never think. He'll try stuff like he's never said he'd been an actor. Like after he did Jersey Girl, he starred in his first film, which was Catch and Release with Jennifer Gardner. Funny enough,
he's so good in it. So good. I liked him.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I said I thought he was good. Like I say, I'll never say a bad word against him.
He played a jolly fat guy that tried to kill himself. So yeah, it's not really much, but
I'll never say a bad word against him.
But yeah, and then like I say, after he done like I say Catch and Release, I think again trying to think the next film. I'm just going to have a quick look.
I love how nonchalant we are that Grant's left us.
Sorry, I think he's
over. I do think Jersey Girl had, as bad as it was, it did have one or two okay moments though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the bit where he's trying to rent out the porno movie and the kids there.
Right.
And probably it's a bit with Liv Tyler in the shower where the kid randomly busts in, needs a toilet. But I think the bit where, you know, where he's like trying, after the heartbreak and that, he's trying to have a conversation with the baby. Mm-hmm. And I still think Sammy would cry at this bit, but you almost feel really bad for him. And then I think he's acting in the moment's a bit shit. And then you kind of end up going from feeling bad to just cringing at his acting in that moment, I think. Yeah. I still think I would definitely cry though. You should watch it just to see if you cry.
No, it's one of them things I would never say stay away from a film or don't watch a film. I would always say give everything a try, except for Orgasmo.
You've got no choice with that one.
But yeah, just saw Kevin Smith tweeting that he's gone hiking, so he's not watching us. Sorry, Donna.
No, he'll be on Runyon Canyon.
He might watch us.
Watch us.
You're watching back.
watch us later. Just remember, Kevin, if Donna, if you ever want to get in touch with Donna, she can get you on the casting couch. She will do anything, and I mean anything.
I'll do anything for Kevin Smith.
Bold statement. What was his next one after Jersey Girl?
So he started in Catch and Release, and I think I'm just looking through. It might be, and I could be wrong. It was Clerks 2.
So after Clerks 2, just before we jump into Clerks 2, just so I've got the timeline right, because he stops, doesn't he? He announces his retirement, and it's Tusk that brings him out of retirement.
No.
Red State.
Nope.
What?
Mary, is it?
Yep. No. Donna's right. Zack and Miri.
Zack and Miri.
Yep.
Really? That's what brought him out of retirement?
No, I don't think. I think he retired after Zack and Miri.
Ah, right. Okay. And then he came back with Red State or Tusk. I can't remember which one came first.
I think Red State was his, because he done Cop Out in 2010, and that was that must have been his retirement because he done Zack and Miri in 2008 and Cop Out in 2010, and then Red State in 2011.
Because he announced his retirement. He was like, I'm done. Movies are done with. And then all of a sudden, he was like, fuck it. I'm going to do what I want to do.
When did he have his heart attack?
A couple of years ago.
No, but what year? Because I know he came, he decided to, because I know after he had his heart attack, he went, he just thought he was going to do everything he wanted.
Reboot is when he had his heart attack because he was just about to do a reboot, or he was just finishing off. So it was really was a few years ago. Mm-hmm. That was scary. Did anyone watch the show of when he had his heart attack? You can see he's not well, can't you?
Sweating like you wouldn't believe.
You can see that man is not. And he was losing weight, like he was on no sugar and stuff like that, and it still just wasn't enough. But bloody hell. I remember him making this whole spiel on Hollywood Babylon. I've quit films, I'm not doing them anymore. And then all of a sudden,
saying that though, if it was on Hollywood Babylon, it would have been after Red State, and it would have been after.
No, Hollywood Babylon's been going for nearly over 10 years. Over 10 years now. It was well before.
Red State was 2011, so it's 10 years ago. It's over 10
when
years
he was touring Red State, John Lovitz was filling in for him on Hollywood Babylon.
Right.
Because of some of the best episodes that was ever done without Kevin Smith.
Because I know he when he started getting into podcasting, he said he didn't need to make films anymore because he could just talk about things he liked rather than showing it. So
that was Smodcast, yeah. When he started Smodcast, because he opened the Smod Castle in Los Angeles, and the idea was that him and other podcasters like Nerdist, because Nerdist was just coming up at the time, would use the Smod Castle as like a podcasting hub, and it got sold pretty quickly, and he had to move on to other venues.
So, going back to, like I say, because I know Donna's dying to talk about this film, because actually she quotes this film quite a lot. Zach and Marie made a porno. So, again, it's probably the most typical Hollywood Kevin Smith film that Kevin Smith's made, with the cast and, like I say, the production. This was, like, I would say, a big budget for Kevin Smith, but it doesn't feel like, it's got him in. It didn't feel like a Kevin Smith film. It felt like a Seth Rogen film.
Yeah, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it was along that type of style. But this has the best line in any film I've ever read. She frosted me like a cupcake.
Dutch runner.
Yes, it interests well to Dutch runner.
Dutch runners.
Just remember, Sammy, keep that eye contact when you're doing it.
Yep. I fucking love this film. And you are right, like, it screams Seth Rogen all over. But then you've got the Star Wars, the fact that they're doing a Star Wars porno, like, it's Kevin Smith film, of course they're going to do a fucking Star Wars porno. And then the language that's used as well. Tracy Lords is amazing in this film. I fucking love that. Jeff Anderson, when he gets shit on, cannot stop, like, belly laughing. So funny.
Elizabeth Banks, you've never seen her in a film like this, and probably never see her in another film like this again.
No, I really have a lot of time for Elizabeth Banks, and she really was. I thought she was brilliant in this. Loved her. Stinky Linky.
What about you, Donna? I know, because I know you love it.
It's just hilarious, but even when they're trying to, like, have the comedy and do all the daft pornos and that, and when they actually get down to it, like, you can see them, like, falling in love. So there's still that aspect of it too. But just for that line, that chick frosted me like a fucking cupcake, like, as one of the funniest lines in anything I've ever seen.
Craig Robinson's in this film. I totally forgot about that.
And the guy at the Time Machine, isn't it?
Yeah, and The Office and Doug Judy and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The scene where the guy comes over and orders a coffee, black. Okay, white. I fucking love that line.
But it's just weird because it was around about the time the Judd Apatow films had all out, and it did feel like very much like a Judd Apatow film as well. Same type of humour, but again with the Kevin Smith elements in there. Like I say, how many directors could get the Dutch rudder into a film? And for it
nobody else. Yeah. And for us to still be talking about it how many years later?
And Jason Mewes just looking at you, you're thinking, oh God.
That eye contact he makes is just really uneasy.
And you know he's probably done that in real life as well.
Most likely. Most likely. Did we miss Clerks 2 out completely?
Yes, because you said move on, so I just moved on.
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean that, like, as in just move on from the podcast talk. Sorry.
Right.
I didn't mean, like, miss out Clerks 2, because, come on, man, there's a donkey show in that.
Fuck that, Elias. Elias made that film. Everything that Elias was in, one ring to rule them all. Oh, that scene. That fucking scene is just, it's
It's everyone's fucking argument. Like, it's definitely in my house because
it's
I'm
right.
a huge...
Because it's true.
Fuck off. No, fuck off. Fuck off. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Let's
and
face it, there's only one return, bitch, and it's Jedi.
And it's not of the king, it's of the Jedi.
Yes.
Samuel, you were able to mute Paul because I'm very upset by what he's saying.
Is Grant on my side?
I'm in charge here.
Damn fucking right I am.
Yes, I have someone who will defend me with Lord of the Rings.
Oh, it's about 6 hours of two people walking.
Oh my god, if that's what you're getting from Lord of the Rings, you are not watching it right.
Star Wars.
Sorry.
Star Wars is the only saga.
I just love that. Star Wars.
I'm on Sammy's side. Sorry, Paul.
You are outnumbered.
Right, 2 seconds. Mute Donna. Mute Grant. Mute Sam. Everyone's muted now. Have a nice day. So you're going to get 2 hours now of me just talking about Star Wars better than Lord of the Rings.
We can do it ourselves, you fucker.
Now it's Donna and Sam's got to work out how to unmute themselves.
It's just done it. It's just done it.
Are you unmuted
that's
there?
Funny. What's the song? You know, the song when Elias gets dragged when he's on the headset and Jay comes through the window. It's King Diamond. Oh, that's it. Grandma, what was it like to be on the and then they start going in that demonic voice and he proper freaks out. Oh my god, pillow pants!
I was going to say, can we just all appreciate pillow pants for a second?
Pillow pants! The fuck come up with pillow pants?
I've forgotten about that.
Has anyone had a problem with pillow pants in the past? We're in a safe space, we can talk about it.
God, him writing Elijah was so funny. Like, I hope he's in Clerks 3.
Oh, he has to be. He can't.
He's proper. He's like, he felt part of the family, like the Clerks family, like instantly.
And again, this was one of the ones where Kevin Smith showcased his ability to pick the right soundtrack.
Yes.
Because I don't think he gets enough credit in his films. Like, visually he gets shit, but the soundtracks are always top notch. But Clerks 2 was, I think, when it hit the pinnacle. Like, ABC, Michael Jackson, when that kicks in and Rosemary Dawson's dancing away and you see the bouncing. Everyone bounced along with her.
Yes. That is quite true. And the dance sequence, like, come on, dance sequence. Brilliant. His wife was really good in it as well, Jennifer Schwalbach.
And I'm pissed off that someone's just got in the chat before us. They got the famous scene, the famous dialogue, the famous question. Do you go ass to mouth? You never go ass to mouth, but you do on special occasions.
You notice Donna's head movement there was amazing. It was like a.
She was ready to agree.
Pineapple. Don't forget, Donna. Pineapple.
The safe word.
But yes.
Rosario Dawson sums it up perfectly. Sometimes. Just sometimes.
Okay, sometimes.
Fucking the donkey show, man.
But not just that, just got Moses little cameo on it when he's
in
he's
the toilet.
The toilet up the door and he goes, don't look at the guy's pee-pee.
He kind of, it's the way he puts his hand over the kid's eyes as well, like proper slow. I fucking love Scotty Moore. He's so cool.
And do we dare say it? Taking it back, Porch Monkey.
Oh gosh.
One of the ultimate sins ever.
What the fuck's a shit stain?
I'm not using the other terms, the N-word knife. I'm not going to do that because we will be shut
no.
down.
No.
But like I said,
shut down.
When he's getting Helen Keller wrong with Anne Frank. Fuck's sake, man.
Oh dear.
We're all going to burn in hell.
Oh, honestly, mate, I've got a first class seat going to hell. I'm not bothered.
Just when he sellotapes Porch Monkey for life on the back of his shirt.
And he just goes, I'm taking it back.
But wasn't it? Oh, it was a famous comedian that you were saying it to as well. What's she called?
Yeah. Oh gosh, she is. Oh, Michaela loves that.
Something Sykes. Something
like that. She's Wanda
Sykes. That was thing. She was absolutely brave and saying, and just. And and her husband, when they're like saying, when he's saying we're not going to eat here, but he said, "Hey, racism isn't in the food."
I love Wanda's voice. Like, I love that, like how she talks, and it's when she emphasizes shit stain. Like, it's just so funny. That whole scene there is just brilliant. Over the scene with Ben Affleck.
Yeah. And Jason Lee's cameo in it as well.
Yeah.
When he's like this good rich mogul and they could spend the time spitting in the burger and stuff like that. And
the fly
in the burger.
What?
And they're like giving it, something tells me I'm not going to enjoy this, and they give it to Jay, isn't it? Because at the start, because Jay's now outside of there because the quick stop's been, haven't mentioned the quick stop setting on fire and being burnt and being gone.
Oh god, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's got burnt down.
So Jay and Silent Bob can't. It's there, and the ultimate scene where they're doing the, like say, what probably is one of my favourite when they're doing the Silence of the Lambs impressions. You got Jay going, "Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me," and then you see him doing the whole.
Don't get me started, guys.
Are we going to go that far?
Doing the whole tuck gun.
Oh my god!
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
And if you haven't noticed, if you're listening in the podcast,
anybody that's still watching,
if you're listening to this on audio, amazing. You've just gotten the amazing grant.
And to be fair though, the pale princess that is Sam has went scarlet. You can see how red your face is, bright red.
Oh, I'm not embarrassed by this. It's fucking brilliant.
Not saying you're embarrassed, I'm just saying you turned on.
Oh, right.
But yes.
I mean, how could you not at that scene? Like, or them words, or the way that Grant did that. So, you know what I mean?
My missus is going to come stampeding down the stairs and I'm
My
going to try and punch you through this laptop.
My husband is literally through the next wall as well. I don't want to pee your wife off.
What happens on the podcast stays on the podcast.
It's all right. If we play it right, then this will end up going on to OnlyFans.
Oh my god.
So
Isn't Tucky in the same room as well? This could get really freaky really quickly. You can be the one that watches, Paul. We'll all say, have a lovely tea party at the end.
Just watch, I guess. Yes.
And there she is.
Fucking debauchery in this episode, man.
Could have been worse. It could have been worse. I haven't even mentioned Charlotte's fate, to be fair. Hashtag
Charlotte's feet. I don't think Charlotte's in the chat anymore. I think she left.
I think she's been
No,
busy.
she was just popping in.
All right.
Here she comes. She's coming for you.
Oh, please don't. I'm such a lovely person.
What a way to make a cameo in the podcast there. Yes. But Nerdy Up North OnlyFans coming soon.
Only nerds. It's just been put in the chat. I'm not claiming credit for that. So what's up to collection?
Well, Zach and Marie make a porno. Then the masterpiece that was Cop Out.
Oh, let's not.
When Kevin Smith realised how much of an arsehole Bruce Willis is.
Do you not think that's when we all realised as well? Like, after Kevin said it, we're like, oh yeah, he is a bit of an arsehole.
The fact that when they were talking about it as well, when he was sitting around and everyone was shouting at Bruce Willis, Die Hard, McLean and stuff like that, and Bruce Willis uttered the words there, "I hate the Die Hard fans the most," was the time he broke Kevin Smith's heart. That's what he actually said to Kevin Smith as well, and that's when Kevin Smith said he wouldn't work with him again.
Oh, that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's a bit of a bastard. Actually, he's the rumour mill in Hollywood is that Bruce Willis now has early onset dementia or Alzheimer's, and that his last film that he's done had to be heavily dubbed, and it could possibly be his last movie ever.
Right.
So sad.
Yeah.
So sad. But him and Kevin made up. He just rang him out the blue, and he was like, "It's Bruce. Bruce who? Bruce Willis. Fuck off." That's how the conversation went.
Imagine that though, just having that day with Kevin when just your phone rings and it's Bruce Willis on the line. How would you react? What would you say? Would just be like, "Hi."
Fuck off.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, obviously.
And then it's a Die Hard fans I hate the most.
What was it
I'll
then?
sing a song from Hudson Hawk.
Or Moonlighting.
Oh, Moonlight.
When he done his old jazz album, wasn't it? Being Bruce.
Oh my god.
That is a thing. You can find it. Bruce Willis has a jazz album online.
Google it.
Yes.
So after Cop Out, there is
The masterpiece that was Red State, which was
master fucking piece with the amazing Michael Parks. Holy shit, did Kevin land a fucking golden one with him? Because that man is sinister as fuck.
This is what, because Kevin Smith said he wanted to do something, as I mentioned before, he wanted to do something different, something he's never done. He wanted to do a horror film, and this was his idea of a horror movie, and how sinister it was. But it had the lass out. The young lass was out of the last season of Scrubs.
Yeah,
so she'd done that and done this, so you weren't expecting it. But what a fucking, like, because it was basically a piss take out of the Baptist Church, wasn't it? The Westboro
Baptist Church, who he gave tickets to go and see it, and they went. And when they realised it was about them, up and left. But Kevin is credited for helping Megan Ropes-Fell get out. Hopefully I said her name right. I've read her book, it's fantastic. And he gets a lot of credit in her book for getting her out of that cult. He was the one who Red State, because the communication line opened between the two of them, and she was starting to come out of the haze of what her family had put her through, and it was Kevin who talked her round and helped her a massive deal get her out of that situation.
Was this the one who moved away from Miramax, or before that? Because I knew he started producing the films himself and distributing them.
I think this was it. Yeah, I think this was it, because this was the point where he said, "Fuck it."
Lionsgate, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Because isn't this the point where he went, "Fuck it, I give in. I'm just gonna do what the fuck I love." Because I know this wasn't. He wanted to do Beaver Zombies or something like that. There was so much because Tusk is the product of him just talking on Smodcast and saying, "I've got an idea." Guy turns another guy into a walrus. Let's do this. And that's how Tusk became what it is. And Red State was very similar because he just got to the point where he was like, "I'm fucking sick. Like, I just want to do my stories." And Red State is brilliant gateway into that.
The performances though as well. John Goodman is absolutely another level. Like, say, that was when you've seen John Goodman in certain films, like even from Roseanne, you know he's got levels and layers and stuff. But fucking in Red State, that was just breathtaking. But as a Kevin Smith fan, this was so far away from a Kevin Smith movie, but it was hard to watch as well because these type of things was happening. Like, again, if you're part of the Nerdy Up North community, we are a good cult. I would never make you do this. I would never make you drink the Kool-Aid, just so you know.
Yes.
This was a bad cult.
This was a really bad cult, and hosted by Michael Parks, who, oh my God, like, he's a very famous Tarantino actor. Earl McGraw, played him quite a few times in Tarantino films, and Robert Rodriguez, Death Proof? Yes, Death Proof. He's so fucking sinister in this. Like, he got Fred Phelps down perfectly. If that's who he based his character on, which I 100% believe he did, he got it sort of like scarily right.
Just when he breaks out in his sermons and his speeches and stuff like that, it just
fucking uncomfortable, isn't it?
Terrifying. And like, so you can almost hear and understand why people follow him, though. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I don't know
convincing.
if you guys. I know you, Grant. I take it. Is this one that you're familiar with?
You know what it is, mate. I put it on last night, and started watching it and was thoroughly enthralled by it, and fell the fuck asleep about a third of the way through. I was absolutely loving what I was watching. It was really striking some chords with us, but it was just one of them where it's like, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and just went,
I'm out.
It's a slightly toned down, like, it's not saying it's the same type of film, but it had very much Devil Rejects vibes to it.
Oh, I was just about to talk about I was going to just talk about the cinematography and how beautiful it was. And you're absolutely right. The tones that he used, like colouring wise, is very much Devil's Rejects. 100%
a lot
agree
of
with
amber
you.
filter and everything in there.
Yeah, and it's beautiful 100%. Though. And it suits it so well for the tone of it. And that's kind of like what took me out of the Kevin Smith type film was the cinematography, because it was so different to what we'd seen before from him.
He paid a photography director for this one, I think.
Yeah.
He didn't shoot it all himself.
No, he got help for this, because that I'm not saying his other films aren't beautifully shot. It's just very different. And honestly, this film probably doesn't get as much credit as what it really deserves, because this is fucking brilliant.
What about you, Donna? Have you seen this one?
No, I didn't get a chance to, but you've definitely sold it.
Yeah. It's not the typical Kevin Smith, but
no,
it's brutal, it's honest, it's unnerving, unflinching, I would probably say. But
yeah, you will find yourself wanting to join Michael Parks because of how convincing his convictions are.
To be fair, though, he's quite easy to join in cults, so I don't think
What are you talking about? This is not a cult.
It's a collective.
Exactly. And that goes lovely into his next one, which I believe is Tusk. Are we there yet?
Just trying to have a think, because I think this is where I think he took a break, so he moved into, because I think he'd done TV for a bit. I think he'd done Degrassi and
Supergirl.
No, Supergirl
Flash.
Came after this, so after these ones. But
we did some form of TV, but let's talk about Tusk. I need to hear Donna's true opinion on it.
Well then, I'm gonna go quiet and let Donna speak.
It's probably the worst movie I've seen in quite a few years, to be fair.
What did you seriously not like about it?
It's easy to say what I did.
Go for it.
That didn't come out right. That did not come out.
No, I know what you mean, though. It's easier to talk about the bits you like.
I don't know. Obviously he goes in and he gets drugged and whatnot, and you listen to the stories and you're like, oh, this is going to be sinister, and then you see him cutting him up and whatnot, and I think it's going to be proper sinister. And then when he goes back and you see, obviously because it's horror and comedy, but you go back and then you see him as the walrus and he starts making noises. And I think I'm going to be disgusted, but I end up sitting there laughing my head off at how terrible the fucking walrus is, but then I just didn't like any of the movie afterwards.
Oh, that scene is so good, though. It is like a proper spit take moment when you see that walrus. I wet myself laughing at it.
But I wasn't laughing because I found it funny in a good way. I was laughing because I was
so bad. You know what it is? Because I think me and Grant were probably like these type of films more, because it reminds us of very much like the Toxic Crusader.
Yes.
Very much that type of really bad, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and stuff like that. Really bad.
It's a modern B movie.
Yeah, that's what he was going for. But there's elements in. But I do find Haley Joel Osment the creepiest fucking thing in that film, and looking like a small man-child with a kind of beard where he hasn't kind of grown up properly is the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
I love Tusk.
I feel personally attacked by those statements.
I love Tusk because it gets you talking afterwards, because you're questioning everything, and that is the sign of a good film. If you can sit there and talk about it afterwards, just even to understand it. I did the same with their most recent Candyman. I wasn't too sure if I actually liked that until I talked it out, went through it, and digested it all, and I was like, fuck yeah, that was actually a really fucking good film. I want to go back and watch and appreciate it again, and I did the same with Tusk.
Well, to be fair, if Tusk didn't have Michael Parks in, I wouldn't have liked it.
Hey, how good is that man? Rest in peace, Michael Parks, because holy shit, that guy can act.
He made that, that B movie watchable at times, but I thought it was fun. I
loved it.
Best way I could describe it is shit fantastic.
Brilliant. Such a good thing. And then was Yoga Hoses?
We don't talk about Yoga Hoses.
I love Yoga Hoses. How could you not like Yoga Hoses?
It was a vehicle to get his daughter into a film, and I'm sorry, that's all it was.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Right, we'll not talk about Yoga Hoses. But I love it.
If anyone wants to talk about Yoga Hoses, I just haven't got nothing to say about it, really.
I love it.
You forgot to mention about Tusk, about Johnny Depp and his daughter being in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
the Colleens are in Tusk, aren't they? And then that's where Yoga Hoses came from. The two Colleens.
But yeah,
All right.
no, yeah, like I say, because that was like the cameo that you weren't expecting at the end when Johnny Depp
No.
just walks on the screen. But I just love that the fact that he got so mangled and so he could never go back to a normal boy. He was always going to be that
walrus.
Walrus.
And they did like the mustache bit when they're like.
Is it Yoga Hoses that has Johnny Depp's Lily?
Johnny Depp's daughter in it, yeah.
No, not daughter, ex-wife, ex-partner, Vanessa Paradis. Isn't she a teacher?
Don't know. I didn't pay that much attention, to be honest.
I'm sure that's Lily Rose's Depp's mum.
Right.
And I'm sure she's in Yoga Hoses as well. I loved it. I love the two Colleens. I would like to see more adventures with them too. But yeah, there you go. I like Yoga Hoses.
Good for you. Well done.
So what's on the horizon for Mr. You don't have to talk about Reboot if you don't want to.
No, Reboot, it was, like say, watching the same movie again. Which
as a reboot.
But not giving us anything new or anything different, but just less crude.
I find it a parody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's so much a parody, and it's so
a parody of a parody.
Yeah. And it's toned Jason Mewes down because he's not the same person anymore as he was when he originally did Jay and Silent Bob. And it's toned down to how he is. Like his daughter's in it. Like Logan Lee's there. She's in the film. I think so different.
Yeah, I think the issue with this is because he had that. Not saying it was a bad thing. He had a heart attack and he had a different outlook at life. So he wasn't looking at. He wanted everything to be all happy and light. And as Grant said, it was a parody on a parody that didn't need to be made because Jay and Silent Bob set everything up and I was there. And I do give it credit. It had some elements, but the only thing I actually enjoyed, and again, I hate saying it, was the Ben Affleck monologue, because it was from the heart, and I would be happy just cutting the whole film out and just having that monologue as a standalone, because it was beautiful.
Yeah, as fans, we were waiting for that because we knew they'd had the falling out, and we know when Ben got Batman, like he was his biggest supporter. Like he was shining that Batman torch for Ben to be playing him, and for him to do that cameo in that film, it meant everything to any Kevin Smith fan because everyone knows what their relationship meant. And I'm sure that doesn't he have a daughter that comes on in that cameo?
I don't know if it's Affleck's daughter, but I know.
No, that's Logan Lee.
Right.
That's Logan Mewes. Sorry, that's our middle name.
Right.
That's Jason Mewes' daughter.
Cool. But I know through the years, he's like say, when it comes to Affleck, like say Affleck can't do anything wrong by Kevin Smith. Like he's went on record and said if anyone needs anyone cast, and he always says Affleck. He even said if Jaws needed to be recasted for a shark, he would cast Affleck as the shark. He says he can't do anything wrong. But again, I don't think we needed reboot. I would have preferred having Mallrats 2.
We're getting Clerks 3,
but they've tried doing Mallrats 2, but with I think with Shannon Doherty taking sick, that put end to that, and
then Stan Lee died as well, so that would have put a damper on it. Because if you don't remember the photos that they had,
I remember everything, but they had the cast, they had everyone like say meant to be coming back on. They had a script, but I think he had his heart attack and he threw that out the window and said, "I don't want to do this film anymore." But Clerks 3 is going to be happening, so I think I'm a little worried. I don't know about you guys.
Never.
No, I'm really excited.
Never, ever worried when it comes to a Kevin Smith project, ever.
But because I know at the end of Clerks, did you ever, like say, I know we're going back full circle now. Did anyone hear the original ending for Clerks?
No.
I think I have, because I used to have the Clerks X box set, and I'm sure it was on there, but I can't remember it.
It was actually they filmed it, because the original ending of Clerks, Dante got killed.
No.
As he was closing up, the store was broken into by robbers and he was shot dead. And that was the original ending. That's how he wanted it to end. And he was.
That's so bleak.
But that's why they didn't do it. But then they were going to have in Clerks 2, again, how Clerks 2 was going to end. Dante was going to get killed. but he had a new residence. He said he can't. He says the character doesn't deserve to end the way it does.
No.
So I like the ending to Clerks 2. It made sense. It was like now they've got the quick stop. It's a perfect happy ending. I don't know where they're going to go now because the relationship with Randle and Dante had healed, where they didn't resent each other anymore. To the point where then, like say, as I said, we've got the Donkey Show and Clerks 2, which we didn't mention about Kinky Kelly and the Stud. But I don't know what story is left to be told now for Clerks 3.
We're gonna find out.
We are.
That's what's gonna happen. You go find out. Like I say, he can't. I'm never not excited when he's got a new project on the go. But I am pretty good at that. Mallrats 2 is not going to be a thing. I can remember when all the pictures were coming out of the cast and they're all saying, "Yes, we're involved, Mallrats 2," and
back.
Yeah, and it is sad that it's not going to happen.
But again, like I say, as we've talked before, like say, I think he has created a niche and like for himself where he's got probably one of the most loyal fan base on there. People will go to bat and they will always give him more options or more credit. They won't like say walk away from, which a lot of directors or things that they'll allow him to make mistakes because his films aren't perfect. Like we're not perfect, but he's give us so much more. Like his panels at Comic-Con are fucking legendary. I used to like get the bootlegs of his talks. How hilarious, like say, how excited he would get. I would get excited. And I love watching these reviews of like on YouTube of when he watches a film trailer. Like he gets you hyped up. He is the perfect hype man. And now he's went on, like I say, he's directed a few episodes of The Flash, Supergirl. He's been involved with. He always talks quite funnily about his experiences on The Flash, where like the dialogue is so wordy and like thing. He tries to like help the cast out by changing it, but the cast say no, this is what we like to do. So he learns as well. But he
says it's the most easiest job he's ever done because it's such a well-oiled machine. He just have to sit there and go action, cut, and he's like that because they've got it down like they've mastered the art of doing an episode. The director does very little, and he just loved being a part of the experience.
But he was even great, like when he done his stand-up, even though it wasn't stand-up comedy, like say an evening with Kevin Smith, where he went around the universities and just giving talks and answered questions from the crowd and stuff. They were fucking hilarious. He's
so good.
And he's a creator as well, and he gets excited when other people create.
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's what gets me as well. He'll never like if you went to him ask a question, he would answer it, but he would never like say do it my way. But he's all about like say go out, create something new, be a storyteller. That's where he describes himself as a storyteller, and I think that's fucking magic.
I totally fucking agree with you, like 100%. Like this, it's really hard to put into words sometimes how much admiration I have for him and what he does for the community as well, because he gives a lot of, especially me.
He likes our tweets. He knows Nerdy Up North exists.
He knows the name. So yeah, he's just. Like I said, I can't get my words out properly of how much I love him. Like he's just fantastic. He makes myself know that it's okay. Like I don't have to pretend to be, what society thinks I am. It's fine. You can like what you like. You can love what you love, and you can nerd out as much as you want to about it because fuck what anyone else thinks. And he really helped with that, especially coming like through my 30s. I love him, and I will always be forever grateful for him reenacting Harry Potter through his podcast with Forgeticus, one of the best spells that never happened in Harry Potter.
But you know what I love about it as well, and again, this is on different levels. It was smutty humour, but it was never low coming through. He never made any jokes at any minorities. Never made any jokes on anyone's sexuality. He he took the piss out of himself, like saying like the world would say, "Oh, I would suck some dick to watch this," but. You believe him? He would suck a cock to
God,
100% to get an early viewing of like the Avengers before it came out. But that element, like I say, especially at the time it was, where, like, say, people were always banging on saying homophobic jokes were the rage and, like, it was okay, and people would, like, mainstream, like, TV shows and stuff, like, were not saying they were anti-gay, but a lot of the jokes weren't very, I would say, PC now. But
no, you're right.
He never went there. He made his jokes were always smutty. His jokes were always in the gutter, but it was always at him rather than anyone else, and that's what I loved about it as well. It was so inclusive.
Totally agree with you. 100% agree with you. He never brought his humor. His humor is timeless because it doesn't reflect the time of, like, you could literally put a film on and not know what year you're in because his humor doesn't change. It doesn't reflect the time.
Maybe the dress sense.
Yeah, definitely. Like, come on, Clerks is just screaming 90s. But I don't know if I've explained myself properly. I totally get what you're saying.
I think what maybe word it a little bit better, just from personal perspective, shall we say, like, stoner humor never ever victimizes anybody ever, and you'll find that right across the board. They might make a mockery of themselves, but they never take another aspect of society and victimize them for the sake of, Cheech and Chong and Harold and Kumar and Dubas, any other movie that has got, two pot smokers as the main kind of focal point, so to speak. There's never an ism with it ever. Yeah. It's always kind of self-deprecating almost.
100%.
There's no agenda.
Well,
absolutely.
He started smoking pot, Zack and Miri, because Seth Rogen got him onto it, but it got him to quit cigarettes. So he went from cigarettes to smoking pot. Now, Seth Rogen always said to him, do it as much as you want during the day, but make sure you're creative while you do it. Don't sit there and be a layabout. Get on it, get working. And he said it just totally complained. He changed his perspective of that stoner image. He got so creative and still does to this day when he's high as a kite. And I think I love it.
I've mentioned him on the podcast before, but that goes back to, even Bill Hicks stand up in the early 90s with, and the best albums you've ever seen or ever listened to, they're real fucking high on drugs. It's always been the message of, do something beautiful with your spacey time, so to speak.
Yeah, you're right.
Tell you what, though, and again, this was probably ahead of his time. All the women in the films, there was no damsels in distress. There was no, all of them had strong opinions. All of them had their own personality and weren't weak-willed. And again, expressing themselves even through the sexuality. There was no pandering or anything like that as well. That's one thing I always think he wrote well for, which a lot of male directors or writers didn't. He always wrote strong, good characters for women as well.
Yeah, he never prioritized a man over a woman in the respect of their dialogue. Like, look at some of the lines Shannon Doherty says in Mallrats. Like, some of the dialogue that she gets, it's just as equal as Jason Lee. There's no difference.
Her chemistry with Jason Lee was amazing.
Magic. Just sparks. Love that woman.
And the bits where he chucks it out there like that, it's a parody. If you look at Jade Silent Bob with Eliza Dushku and all of the rest of them, catsuits and all the rest of it, they're not there to draw people to the movie.
No.
Yes.
They're a parody of stuff like that Charlie's Angels movie that came out around about the same time, where it was just, there's Lucy Lou's arse for an hour and a half with a little bit of, was it Drew Barrymore giving it, big eyes and what have you. It was completely geared towards, there's a hot girl, stare at that, pant at that, whereas when he did it in Jane Silent Bob, he did it, but they did it because they were making a mockery of stuff like that.
Of that,
And he used his
shagging the pizza guy and what have you.
And he used his wife.
Yep.
So he must have been comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, well, have you ever seen Jennifer Schwalbach's Playboy cover? No, Playboy spread she did. It's beautiful. It's her dressed as Supergirl and Kevin took the photographs. It's absolutely stunning. Such a good picture.
Nice.
Yeah. Check it out. Google it. Jennifer Schwalbach.
Don't know.
On it now.
Anything you want to add there, young lady?
Oh my God, you can see her kidneys. Sorry.
I'll Google after the podcast. I think the thing for me, just like, he just gets all of us. Like, he is us. Like, he just gets everyone. He connects with the fans, and he puts everything, our day-to-day conversations, when you're drinking with your mates or not drinking with your mates, and everything that you talk about just goes into the movies, and he really gets us. And I guess he's just a nerdy god, really.
Perfect.
He is the Lord and Saviour of nerd.
He is. Totally agree.
That's what Nerdy Up North is going to be, the Church of Kevin Smith.
That's what our cult is. Oh my God, you've just figured it out.
Well, yeah.
Have we reached a higher level now in the cult?
Yeah, we have reached the level of Smith. So yeah.
Oh my God, what's next?
The dress attire with all his backward caps and large overcoats.
Jerseys.
Yeah.
Jerseys. He's now into, because he's all trimmed down, he's got the blazer on, so we could all go for the blazer look with backward hat.
And Berserker is our hymn. Won't you suck my cock, Berserker? And that's a nice way to end it, I think.
Perfect. What an episode. Absolutely love this.
Yeah. So, anything you guys want to end with? Oh, have we talked shit with you enough there?
Ooh, what a lovely tea party.
Love it.
I'm going to get a sound bite of
We
that
missed
now.
out talking about oversized clits, and I'm really, really upset about that.
I'm sorry.
Is it an oversized clit, or is it a little cock?
Oh, God.
Wow.
Let's wrap this up now, shall we?
No.
Dangerous
Continue on
territory.
into the next.
And just to finalise, quickly run through the story that Sam wanted a quick go through, that Kevin Smith was dialed on to write the script for Superman Lives.
Yes.
And wrote the story, had everything planned out. Then Tim Burton got involved, ready script, and then sacked Kevin Smith. So
Sucked him.
then for years after that, Kevin Smith, you could get this script online and download Kevin Smith's version, and people used to take it to conversions. And Kevin Smith would sign the script, "Fuck you, Tim Burton, Kevin Smith." Yep. So,
if you want to watch a full documentary about it, it's called "The Death of Superman Lives," done by the amazing Schwepp, King of the Schwepp. He's sadly lost him a few years ago, but it is a hell of a documentary, proper eye-opener as to what we could have gotten as a Superman film, what we could have gotten basically within the DC universe. It's really good documentary. I can't recommend it enough.
certainly.
Can you seriously see Nicolas Cage as Superman
Yes.
though?
There was
Really like that.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
there was
I get what you mean.
there was a photo released, and when you watch the documentary, because there was two versions, there was one with him long hair that he looks
Yeah.
nothing like Superman.
No.
And then when he was the blue outfit and he had the curl, it was I was a little bit sold. So
It kind of worked,
Yeah.
like in a way, and it's a great documentary laying out, just the issues in Hollywood as well, and like how much influence people actually have.
Mhm.
And the likes of Kevin Smith, he didn't stand a chance. Like he really didn't.
No.
It's so good, brilliant documentary.
But yes, so wrapping up, guys, thank you so much for taking
Thank
part. Like I say, I knew this one was going to be a long one, so
Yeah,
I-
you couldn't not. It's Kevin Smith.
there was probably lots of stuff I'll probably
Make sure that's number 37.
Not quite.
God forbid the one that comes after. That's all I'm saying. But yes, like I say, can't get my words out now. Thank you for everyone joining the chat. Like Martin, Michael, you have kept it going all night.
Thank you.
This is what she said.
What she said.
Also, as well, like I said, joined Charlotte's Book Club. Like I say, we've done the Twitch stream. We've done two videos now where Donna joined us last time where we played Phantasmagoria, whatever it's
I
called.
can't see it. How fun was it though, Donna? We had a blast. That fucking party was mint.
It was.
And watching it back is hilarious.
But yes, I'm going to play a few more games. I think Left 4 Dead was mentioned, and I think Grant got very excited.
Friday the
Fucking
13th.
right.
Is that one in there? Can I pitch that one?
Possibly. I've played it before. It's not the funnest game, but
I've never played it, but
it's Dead by Daylight or something. It's like a rip off of. But yes, also as well, next week I think Grant's returning with Charlotte, and we're doing top 5 fantasy films. My 5's already picked, so good luck picking that. And I'm going to ban Lord of the Rings. Just saying.
I mean, space.
but what am I going to
As
pick?
per usual, I'll be picking mine like half an hour before the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I'm going to do something.
That means you could put the Hobbit in.
To be fair, though,
look,
yeah, because we've done an episode on the Lord of the Rings, so
We
I'd
have.
say, so I think I'm gonna.
I can't talk anymore about it, to be fair. Like, I love it, but there's more out there of fantasy than Lord of the Rings.
Certainly. So top 5 fantasy. Then I can't remember what's happening after that. But,
There's a lot. We've got a lot going on.
yes.
Pixar.
Pixar.
You know what we haven't done? Our favourite Kevin Smith movie?
Well, we'll put that on the list for another time.
No, we'll name it before we're finished. So, favourite Kevin Smith film of all time.
Oh, I thought you said like a top 5. My apologies.
You know, like the favourite, because we normally end on a favourite.
See,
okay.
Donna's the one that keeps us right. Well done. Sorry, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
So I'll let you go first, young lady.
Clerks.
Cool. Grant.
I said nout about it when we spoke about it as well. Chasing Amy.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
sorry,
It was my rant.
For a good reason. I've got a lot of personal reasons for loving Chasing Amy, which I won't go into, but it holds a very special place in my heart for so many reasons that I'll never get tired of that movie. But nobody needs to hear that. Because I'm a grizzled, horrible pervert and have no emotions.
And you want to keep that
sex
persona.
and violence. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
I love it. Dogma, just for the simple reason it brought me into the world of Kevin Smith, and I will be forever grateful for that film.
Same with Grant. Chasing Amy. It's such a special film, and it's magic when you get it.
Yeah.
And again, sorry, I know I probably talked too much over it because again, that film does mean a lot to us.
What you said was absolutely beautiful, and honestly, like I'm patronizing or anything like that. It genuinely makes us want to go and watch it. And look at it from the perspective that you talked about, because I watched it in my early 20s and give a shit.
Yeah.
I really didn't give a shit. It was a funny Kevin Smith film, but to look at it that way, I want to go back and revisit it.
Cool. So yes, so to find us on YouTube, Spotify, all the different podcast places. Like as Grant's pointed out, we're on about 17 of them now, I think.
Everywhere.
But yes, same bad time.
37.
37.
37.
I missed the trick there, sorry. So same bat time, same bat channel, guys.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Snoochie boochie.
Bye.
Bye.